So sitting here is Cormac Flynn, Susan Wittenberg, Carter Booth, Lois Rakoff. And okay, so the procedure is I will first, everybody, make sure you've signed in whether you're speaking or not. That's for the applicants or representatives and members of the public. There are agendas up here on the yellow pieces of paper. I will be calling items out of order. If you're a member of the public and wish to speak on an application, please fill out a speaker card and hand it to us up here. If you feel compelled to speak on an item and you didn't fill out a speaker card, just when I call on the public, you feel free to speak and you can fill out the speaker card afterwards. There's a microphone here. There are two microphones up here. Please, everybody, try to remember to use the microphones. It's important that the microphones are used. So the procedure is I'll call on the application. The applicants will come up. They will present their application. They will speak to the committee. The committee will ask questions. And then once we're done, we will go to the public for questions, comments. Come up, say what you have to say, speak to the committee. Everybody's addressing the committee. Once we've heard from everybody on the public on an application, we will then have the applicants come up to address everything. There won't be any back and forth, and everybody's addressing the committee, and I will ask everybody to speak respectfully to each other and about all the items. And I think that is it. After we've heard through everything, then we go into our business session and discuss the applications as a committee. Everybody's welcome to stay for that if you'd like to, but we don't take any public comment then. Yes, and okay, so the person who is here for CB2 LLC, that one we are going to hear on Thursday night. So if you want to come back on Thursday night, you can, or you can submit written testimony, but we won't be hearing that one tonight. And thank you for coming, and sorry that you came all the way down. Okay, the other thing, just for those of you that are here and often come, this will be our last meeting for a while at this location. This is where we usually meet, but they're redoing the floor, so we will not be able, for the first time I see how lopsided it is. We will not be able to meet here for a while. Next month, we will be meeting at Northwell Health on 13th Street. Thursday we're here, right? But next month, starting March, we are not here. We will be at Northwell Health for both the SLA 1 and SLA 2 meetings. I ask everybody to just check the calendar each month for the dates to see where we are meeting. And hopefully we will be back here sometime, but who knows when that might be. So just keep checking the calendar. Okay, the first application is going to be that we're not here. We've waived their appearance. It's Lamasan LLC at 359 6th Avenue. It's an on-premise for restaurant, which was an alteration to add sidewalk. They had sidewalk seating under the old program. They have the same sidewalk seating they're applying for under the new program with the same hours, and they just signed stipulations. So if anybody's here on that one, we are not hearing that one. Okay, the next application, and the first one we'll hear, is Huang Corp doing business as DH Noodles at 15 West 8th Street. This is a restaurant wine, if you could come up. You might have, there you go. And it does raise and lower. There's a little dial there. You can raise it up. And also, this is Anthony Huang, who just joined us also on the committee.
Okay, good evening. My name is Sam Park. I'm the representative. I'm here for Huang Corp, doing business as DH Noodle. I'm here with the applicant, Mr. Lu. And we are operating the Chinese restaurant, specializing in the handful noodle style dish. And we are applying for beer and wine license. And restaurant is operated from the 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. And we have a 1 bar, 9 seat, and 23 table, and 6 to 2 seat, total 71. We have only background music only, no outdoor sitting, no backyard, nothing else.
Okay, and I think you spoke with the Block Association,
Um,
Carol, the West 8th Street,
yes,
Carol Wilson.
yes,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Okay, so I just had, is there any patron use of the cellar? Do patrons use the cellar?
No, we have no idea for
There,
that.
no.
Yes.
Okay. And there is no cellar. Is there a cellar or
No, this is the only the we don't
only
know
the
of
ground
any-
floor? Okay,
yes.
so there is no cellar. Okay. And then, the one issue that there were two issues that were brought up by the Block Association. Do you want to go through them or, yeah, go ahead.
I'll take them in my own order here. So, you have an open sign in the window. That's a neon sign that's, in violation of zoning because for the historic district because it's too close. Right? This neon sign, right, is, minimum of 6 inches behind glass, right? So, and it's pressed up to the glass right now with no space, right? So we just wanted to cite you for that, and if you'll fix that,
Okay,
right?
sure,
Please
I
move
will
that
do.
neon sign back. The other thing is, we just want to ask about the Instagram happening that took place on January 19th. Is that going to be a regular sort of a thing? Yeah, the
Yeah, it was the-
promotion.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
have to
because there
right
was
from-
long lines up and down the street and things, and we want to,
Just give me,
We do the open for the promotion, yeah, only 1 week.
oh, it was only for the opening.
It's for the opening. 1
Right, so
week.
that won't be an ongoing or regular.
Not,
thing.
not
Okay,
going on. Right now, it's everything fine.
Thank you.
okay, and I was just gonna say, if you do something like that again in the future, just make sure you have a way to control the lines. I heard it was very successful.
No, just that's only for grand opening
Okay,
days. Yeah, that's
Okay, and
all.
you've been open for a while, haven't you? A couple of,
In
since
Jan-
January, yeah. Okay. Okay, does anybody from the committee have anything? Is there anybody from the public? I don't have anybody signed in. Does anybody want to speak on this application? Okay, I think that's it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul.
And the 10 o'clock, I know the block is, this means all patrons out.
Yes.
So
10 o'clock,
that's,
there will
it's
be
10,
call,
it's
yes.
not 11. It's just all patrons out at 10.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get you a stipulation then.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next application is going to be Miznon Upper West Side LLC doing business as Shmone at 61 West 8th Street. This is an on-premise restaurant with an alteration to enlarge this space.
Michael Kelly, representing the applicant. With me is Mika Zeev. Mika, her father owns the restaurant. She runs all his restaurants in New York City. He's in Toronto. He couldn't be here today. So this is an alteration application for Miznon UWS LLC, located at 61 West 8th, for a full-service Mediterranean restaurant that has been open and operating since May of 2022. The new space will be part of the restaurant, but will operate as a fine wine bar with approximately 200 different selections and a substantial cold appetizer menu. In the existing area, we originally had 10 tables, 38 seats, and a 36-seat bar. That is being changed to 12 tables with 34 seats, resulting in 2 more tables and 4 less seats. The seating at the bar will be reduced from 38 seats to 14 seats, resulting in a reduction of 22 bar seats. The new area will have 8 tables and 20 seats and a service bar. The new totals for the entire restaurant will be 20 tables, 54 seats, and 14 bar stools. Everything else will stay the same. Hours of operation, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., Friday and Saturday, and there is background music. We did meet with the West 8th Street Block Association, and a copy of the new sign stipulation is attached.
Okay, is there any outside?
No outdoor seating.
Okay, background music,
Yes.
all right. And any use of the basement?
No, we don't use the basement.
Just for sure, okay. And then the rear yard is just for trash storage, nobody's,
And we've
Out.
kept that window closed.
and you keep the window closed and nobody's out there after 10 o'clock at all using it for anything. And so I know, so there were a few questions I had. The Block Association, so it's a wine, you're expanding the space, it's going to operate under the same name or not?
Yes.
All right, and you come up and you, or pick up the other micro, however
No,
you want to do it, I just
okay.
need the microphone. And so so when people come, are you using both entrances or?
Yes.
Okay, so,
If you have a reservation for the restaurant, you're walking in as you do now for the restaurant. If you're early for your reservation, you can come and have a glass of wine before and then join us at the restaurant. Or you can just come, we don't take reservations, come and have a glass of wine. The very low-key wine bar experience, basically.
okay, but we'll have the full on-premise license, because
yes,
it's the
yes,
same
yes.
license, so it's not
Yes.
just wine. If somebody wants a cocktail, they can have a
We are
cocktail.
not planning of serving cocktails there, but yes, if somebody would like a martini, we have the ability, we don't have a cocktail menu, it's not a cocktail bar, but
Okay.
yes.
Okay, and then, so are you going to have a separate, like a smaller bites menu
Yes.
in that?
Yes.
So just run through a little bit that.
We're
Alright,
gonna
that's
have the same bread that we have at the restaurant with different dips, cheese board, kind of charcuterie board, few sandwiches, oysters, everything kind of cold line. Do we have a copy of the menu here? Yeah,
I think, yeah.
I don't remember it by heart, but the look and feel is this. It's very small bites, oysters. It's a lighter version of what we serve in the restaurant. And we are gonna have the lasagna that is like kind of the best seller of the restaurant also be served there, just to kind of keep the connection between the two.
Okay. And so you'll have a hostess over on that side as well
Yes.
to direct the people.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so the two things the Block Association did raise was noise from the music, I believe, and things, which I think,
We added panels in the restaurant. It's a very low-key background music, the experience in both sides. But if there is a need to add more roofing in the ceiling, we'll do so.
okay,
That was the first one, and the second one.
was the patrons smoking
That shouldn't
outside?
happen, and that's done. I wasn't aware of it, and like,
And
I
that-
spoke with everybody today. They're not,
Okay,
it shouldn't happen to begin with, and it's not gonna happen.
okay. And then before I go to Cormac, which I'll do, I just want to say, I have not been to this location, but I know the one in Chelsea Market, and that one's loud.
It's not
So I
the
hope
same at all.
Not the same at all.
No, that's Miznon, and this is Shmone.
Okay,
Miznon is our fast casual brand, and
Yeah.
it is loud, and it's a
Yeah.
part of the DNA of
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
we do there.
There are multiple other Miznones that are quiet.
Okay.
One in Chelsea Mall.
Not,
Be there.
And
Yes.
we're using the same kind of LLC name, but the DBA and the concept and everything
Okay.
is very, very different.
okay. Cormac?
Yeah, and I'll also stipulate the existing experience at Shmone has not been loud, at least not to folks on the street, and I haven't noticed it in the place. I also just wanted to, for the committee and for the record, to let people know, the issue with the noise is above the existing establishment,
Yes.
as you know. This new expansion, there are no residences above it. It's commercial space above. There are residents in the same building, but not above that space over towards Sixth Avenue, above the corner. So.
Thank you.
It doesn't have the new address anywhere on your application. How are you gonna be? It's a different building. But how is the liquor authority going to know? So it's gonna be an AKA or whatever it may
They're
be.
going to be 61-63. And there's an opening, it's connected.
And the buildings share common ownership. I used to live in your building a long time ago, long time ago.
And ju- Just to clarify again, for the record thing, so there's an opening for patrons between the two sides. It's not just a staff opening, right? There's an opening, so you can move
So
from the
somebody-
restaurant
I'm
to the
looking
bar.
at
and back.
this, I'm just looking at, it's, DBA is the same name, right? The DBA is the same unit. It's not,
yeah,
so,
it's
so I
the
look at
same-
this as like, if you're walking into a larger restaurant, the bar area that you walk into,
That's exactly what we're going for.
so
Exactly.
that's,
Yes, so we have more room. Currently, if somebody wants to kind of linger on having dessert, we need to move them in order to seat the second reservation. We're planning of just having more space. And
okay, so same hours, same, all patrons out.
Everything is the same.
Okay. Right.
Could prolong that.
That, right. Okay, so. Yes, because they have, so you have the one set of stipulations with the block association that you agreed to in 2021. And so then these stipulations describe this entity, which is a different, so it's this space, so it will be, it's like a combination of the two because this says the establishment is a fine wine bar serving substantial appetizers,
That's-
but
yes.
we are talking about what you're adding on, and that needs to be sort of combined with this establishment is a legitimate restaurant with substantial kitchen items and blah, blah, blah. So the whole place is
Yes.
going to be operating as both of those stipulations will be combined to that. And my stipulations will reflect the combination because it will be stipulations on the entire premises.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's, because that's what you're doing. It's the
Yes.
same thing, correct? Okay, anybody from the committee? Is there anybody here to speak on this application? I don't think so.
The one other thing I was just, so we know for the record is, I should also just mention that this is a previously unlicensed space. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thanks. Okay, the next application is going to be the Gap Inc. doing business as Banana Republic, 552 Broadway. This is an on-premise bottle club license in a previously unlicensed location also.
Hello, everybody. Donald Bernstein on behalf of the Gap. I'm here with a highly experienced team from Banana Republic and the Gap, who some of whom, I think all of whom, have traveled far to get here to appear before you. This is very important, this application for Banana Republic and the Gap. You may remember that we came before you many months ago with a food and beverage operator, and the plan at that time was to open a lounge, a small lounge on Crosby Street, with an entrance on Crosby Street, that I think we were looking to have stay open until 2 a.m. There was concern by residents. We heard that concern. Banana Republic was going to lease the space or sublease the space to that operator. And given the concerns of the community, some of which was shared by the landlord of the building out of concern for the residents, we went back to the drawing board and said, let's try to do something a little different. The model changed slightly. The intent was to raise the food level, make it more of a restaurant, make other changes. We never got to you on that application, but we did meet with the residents. We took them into the space. There was still some concerns about the hours, even though I think we reduced them. We ended up not filing before you. We didn't come before you. We went back to the drawing board again to come up with something that would be different, that would be good for the store, good for the brand, because Banana Republic has done this bottle club license in other stores and other locations successfully. And good for the residents, because they're a member of the community, they're going to be there for a long time, and they want to live together in harmony and peace and not create problems. So we've totally redone what we're doing here. And this is going to be a bottle club license. Now, you may recall from other applications that a bottle club license is designed for a dry store where food and beverage is not the main component, it is not the driving force, which allows us as an amenity to our patrons to offer service of beer and or wine and or alcohol. And it has to be provided without charge. So that's the plan. So instead of just licensing that back cafe, restaurant, lounge space, we are going to be licensing the entire two-story Banana Republic floor. And that will allow patrons to come in to have a glass of wine or other beverage. It is likely not going to be offered every day, all day long. From time to time, it will be offered as an amenity. The focus, well, it's not a focus, that's the wrong word. But when it's offered, it will typically be wine and beer. The license will be for alcohol, but the intent is not to be giving customers scotch on the rocks during the day, which is not to say that it will never happen. There may be times of the year or based upon holidays or events where we may come up with some specialty cocktail tied to the time of year or something going on in the store where we may offer that. But from day to day, we're really talking about principally wine and also beer. There is seating in the store between the chairs, couches in the store, and even couches and seating in fitting rooms. There are seats for about 30 people throughout the store. Food, as you know, is not required, as you should know, because I've told you, food is not required for a bottle club license. There may be some slight offerings from time to time, but it's not required. When the store is open from day to day and it closes by 8 p.m. every night, 7 p.m. on Sundays, that back room that we were going to license is not going to be accessible. So the public is not going to be able to just come in and sit in that back space, which, by the way, is fully built out and is beautiful. It's like being in a Parisian bar. It really is unfortunate that we can't use it for the public, but that's not the plan. That will be activated only when there are private events. So when there is a private event, it can be in the entire store or part of the store, including that back room. They will all be staffed. Those who are serving beverages will be tips trained. Banana Republic takes this very seriously. They want to protect their brand. They want to protect their store. They want to protect the community. So they're going to be very cautious about service. And that, I think, brings me to some of the stipulations that have been offered by the Block Association, almost all of which we have agreed to. And I just want to take you through those so you know what they are. First is that it's a bottle club license, which it is. Second, that service ends at 8 p.m., 7 days a week, although it's 7 p.m. on Sundays. The residents asked for no Crosby Street egress whatsoever. We have agreed to that. That door can be used for, I think, deliveries, trash, but patrons will not be, guests will not be coming in or out. Everybody will be coming into the Broadway entrance. And if you haven't been in that store, there's a rather large sort of open area in the front. Obviously, when the store is open from day to day, people come in and out. That's not an issue. When there are events, there's plenty of space to get everybody inside, make sure they're invited guests, and then bring them further into the store. So that's a good thing that we have that there. There is no outdoor space. There are no operable windows. The hours we're asking for are midnight, which will only be activated in the event that there's a private event. So when the store is open day to day, it will close by 8 p.m., and we will agree there will not be more than 12 private events a year. So that is the max. Now, I want to be clear, though, about what we're willing to do with that. It would be 12 private events after 8 p.m. So if we had a private event in the middle of the day, that would not count towards the 12. Up to 12, yes.
So just to rephrase that and see if I'm rephrasing, you will have not more than 12 private events per year that will run until potentially 12 o'clock at night and no later than 12 o'clock at
Between
night.
8 and 12. Yes. So an event that's in the middle of the day would not count as one of the 12.
But if it starts at 5, it can go,
Yes,
y-
yes. If it
that's what I'm
goes,
saying. So I
right,
mean,
if it goes past 8.
please use, I know Spain.
We would have a hard stop at store hours. So we would only ask for 12, up to 12 times a year to run a later evening event.
Right.
But we don't have necessarily a plan laid out for 12. 12 is the ask to
Right,
go
got it.
additionally.
Now, that part I got, but it's so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
anything that goes past 8 o'clock, I don't
Absolutely.
care what time it's, quite frankly, I'm not
Correct.
as concerned about what time it
Correct.
starts. It's just that
Anything
it
running
goes-
past 8 would go towards that 1 in 12 a year we could do.
Correct. and-
Correct.
Right.
You
okay,
got it.
Got it.
Yes, okay. The music during the day, just background recorded music. During private events, it could be live, it could be DJ. We have been asked to agree to a maximum of 3 events within any 7-day period. I've never had that in any stipulation I've done, but I think we're okay with that. So we will agree to that at the request of the neighbors. Let me see what else. Oh, drink offerings limited to 2 drinks per person. That's fine day to day. We don't want people coming in and having more than 2 drinks. For a private event, we don't want to agree to that.
No.
But if you have any concern about it, remember, we're giving away drinks for free, so we don't want to be serving too much because we're not getting compensated for it. And I'm told by this team that when there is a private event and they order alcohol, they're going to do it based upon 2 drinks per person. So they're going to run out and they're not going to be able to
Which
serve
nobody wants to do.
more. Yeah, they would run out. So, but during the day to day, 2 drinks per person max is good. Let's see, what else? There's some language here about attention to traffic circulation at the end of any private parties. Of course, we'll try to monitor that. Will there be security during private events? I forgot how we left that. Yeah, we're going to have security during private events.
I mean,
Contact
I would
pers-
assume that you normally have security in the store and anyway,
Yes.
because,
Additional security.
okay.
And so I know we have agreed with the landlord as well to have the proper security based on the head count attending the event, which we've come to agreement with the landlord.
Okay.
They've requested a contact person, which we can provide, and that any change in method of operation comes before you, which of course we would agree to, and we have to anyway. So the only change is the 2 drinks on a private event. Otherwise, we agree to everything that was requested of us.
Okay, so just let me just go back to the DJ and live music. That will be during any private event meaning the store is closed to the public and you're hosting something, and go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The only time we've had a DJ thus far, keep me truthful, is our opening. Generally, we use our sound system to run a playlist, which is how we generally operate. I think it's very clear we're all operating in a budget, so a DJ is expensive. So we want to have the flexibility if we had a very specific launch, where we could have a potential live music, a guitar player or something. But generally, we use our sound system in the store that runs as a normal practice. So I think that's the only time we've ever used a DJ is the opening, and we've been open, nearing a year there.
So if I say, I'm just trying to figure out how to write this so we're clear here. If DJ live music during private events, but I can't say only 12 private events per year because you may have more than 12 because they may end by 8.
Right, but yes.
So it's any private event would have the DJ or live music. Is there any number of private events then? I mean, because you're not, I understand that you're not having private events every day, but I'm just trying to
We could tie it, and I'm kind of talking as we go, but I think we could tie it to the 12 number to not
Okay.
exceed, because I'm just going to be honest, it's not like we have millions of dollars to throw out towards these things. We have a very succinct budget that we're looking for the 12 for flexibility.
Right.
But generally in a year, we've probably run, 4 to 6.
Okay.
And so having flexibility just allows us, as our business grows, to make sure we can meet the needs of the customer. So I think it's tied mostly to those private events,
Yep. Okay. Okay. And then just, I think, Donald, you were clear on this, but that rear room is only used during the private event. I was curious
Correct.
about that. So
Yes.
Just- you have a second
Yeah,
microphone. you
and
can pick up
if
you
I'm
want.
saying anything out of turn here, but it's also, we have to monitor the space.
Right.
It's a large space if you've been in it. So we lock it during the day because we wouldn't want a customer to go back there either, take product. So we have our own reasons to want to make sure that's
Okay.
a lot of control, and there's a lot of camera activity for us to know.
Okay. I'll go to the committee. Lois. Lois.
Yeah,
First.
sounds wonderful. As a person who lives near stores and bars and restaurants that does live music, my concern, or the neighborhood's concern, would be breaking down when you have, what kind of live music are you having? And then when it's over, breaking down and putting the equipment and the instruments and so on back into the truck, and the noise that it would create for the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we have planned for that in the past because of our own staff not wanting to work too late. So we either have a breakdown of something an hour before the event's over, or typically we would do a morning breakdown where if they had equipment to load in or out, it would go out or in the morning. So we would adhere to the midnight being the end of it all.
What
So
kind-
we would have to plan for probably, I think that's why we gave ourselves a buffer. We'd probably have an 11 p.m. wrap up for customers and then a takedown to include that.
What kind of live music are you talking about?
What are some examples?
Really, honestly, I think it would be maybe a guitar player, some jazz, potentially, a DJ playing local music. It is not going to be an extremely loud environment. It's supposed to be, our events are definitely to attract customers for our new product, create a great environment, but it's not going to feel like a disco. And I know that we talked about the volume levels in the speakeasy. We would absolutely ensure that we measure the same in the store environment. And that hasn't been a problem for any of our events so far.
How many instruments are you talking about?
Oh, 1 to 2. I mean, we have not done a live band type of organization in a store. We don't have a lot of space. So usually you look at like a guitar player or you look at a DJ. But typically, that's very few and far between in a year. I mean, we don't do it often. And we have 400 stores. So I can honestly tell you the live music that we've had has been 5 times this year in the 5 openings, the grand opening, and that's daytime. So and our client base doesn't necessarily like super loud music either. So we're definitely aware of kind of what we're trying to do from an aesthetic ambiance kind of form. Is that helpful?
Cormac.
So I have 2 questions, but I'll start on that one because continuing the same theme, Donald or you or whoever, around the sound. My only concern is, as you say, the after hours, when there's an after 8 p.m., the sound for it could be live music. It could get a little bit loud. How well is the back room area? Has it been soundproofed?
Do you want to speak to that, Ashley? Because we actually
Right.
did a lot of sound decibel testing.
Okay.
Yeah, we previously commissioned a report for soundproofing, but since we've also entered into an agreement with our landlord that addresses that very issue, among other issues, that in the event noise can be heard outside the premises, which for all intents it's not going to be, we have obligations to add additional soundproofing and take other remedial measures to ensure that sound doesn't emit from the space.
Terrific, and I applaud the diligent effort. The only other question I had, and I'm sure it's just a matter of my reading it, right? But looking at the floor plan, Donald, how do you get to this back space from the store? It
Yeah, I'll
looks
show
like
you.
you can only get in from Crosby Street, which I know you're not doing.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll walk you through. You enter on our Broadway street through our main door. We only have one door. You have to walk physically straight through the back, all the way to the very back of the store, where there's like a fireplace. You then have to turn right. It's a hidden door. And
okay.
there's like a cover over, 'cause it was intentionally built to be a speakeasy, which would be hidden. So you really can't find it unless you know it's there. So then that door is locked. There's a fire door there. And then you go in and there's another curtain and then you walk in and it's a very small, I think 30 to 40 capacity room that's built out.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The last thing I just want to say is you may remember that when we came here months ago with the other operator, someone was here from the landlord and they claimed the landlord didn't agree. The landlord is fully on board. Matthew Irwin has spent considerable time negotiating with the landlord, and the landlord is imposing certain restrictions on us. For example, not using Crosby Street, taking care of noise. So we're also bound by an agreement that we're entering
Please.
into with the landlord, and they're supportive of it, but they're being very
With
protective of the
conditions
space.
on it.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Is that it for the committee? I'll go to the public. Go ahead.
Where else do you have a bottle club license in New York?
It's not a bottle club license, but we do operate in Texas and in Florida, where we're not required to have that.
Different licensing, different states, but they have similar operation.
Okay.
We have a employee self-serve model that operates in those states where the associate is trained and goes through special tips training and training for the state. And we have had no issues in those states.
Okay. All right, I'll go to the public. Pete Davies and Kim Martini, if you want to come on up.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Kim Martini. I am the tenant at 552 Broadway. I've been there since the early 90s. No one has ever approached me from Banana Republic or the landlord about this change of events. From my understanding, this sounds like they're trying to find a reason to get a bottle license. I don't understand why a New York a publicly traded company needs to serve alcohol when their primary financial business is retail and not alcohol. Our building does not have a certificate of occupancy, and I'm a loft law tenant. Thank you.
This building, for this building, for this building. Okay. She lives in that building.
Good evening, Pete Davies. I live on the block, have for 45 years. As Mr. Bernstein pointed out, over the past year, we've been approached with numerous iterations of something. And so here we are with a plan that seems to be far less impactful on the residents, both in the building, hopefully, and other residents nearby. As you all know, or probably have heard from folks who have come before you from SoHo, these buildings are 150 plus years old. They're wooden drums. So the noise that comes through the building goes through the building. And that has been our concern. We were surprised late yesterday by the addition that had never been mentioned before of adding the DJ component. That's been spoken to. It sounds like, oh, okay, it's not the scary thing that we were fearing, but you never know. I hear that you've come a long way.
You're speaking to us. Pete.
Speak tonight. That's a concern. That
Pete, speak to us.
yes, no, I just wanted to let them know that it is a concern that the people directly involved are 3,000 miles away. So if at 11 o'clock at night, there's an issue, it becomes, we don't want to police this. We don't even want to know when it's going on, because if we know when it's going on, it's because we're hearing it. And that's really all we're trying to avoid. So I appreciate that Mr. Bernstein responded to our concerns to some degree. It sounds much better than where we were before. I know that, or I heard that today people submitted a number of emails, concerned still about the hours and the DJs. Perhaps if people had come tonight, they would feel less concerned, but I'm not going to tell you that's the case because I can't speak to that. So anyway, we're just asking you all to make sure as much as we can. Our understanding is that this will have a 500-foot hearing, and that because of our concerns, some of the local people, folks, they may want to take part in that. And then just one other thing, the public interest statement seems to say that the only real public interest here is that we're giving booze to our customers for free. I see nothing else in the public interest statement that says anything beyond that. So maybe that's enough in the eyes of the State Liquor Authority. One final thing, the 17,000 square feet that they're asking to be licensed, each floor is over 8,500 square feet. The new zoning that was put into effect 3 years ago says any eating or drinking establishment, the terminology is eating or drinking, that's over 8,500 square feet needs a special permit. This space is now governed by a prior special permit for the retail, but there's nothing in there about eating or drinking. So I don't know where that goes legally in terms of all permits need to be in place before the license can be issued. But it's another wrinkle in this hybrid world that we've now entered into. And just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you all very much.
thank you.
Just want to make a couple of comments, and then I'm going to
Well,
turn it
what-
over to
I just
Matthew.
want to make sure that there's nobody else here from, I didn't have anybody else signed up. Is there anybody else here from the public on this? Okay.
Yeah,
go,
as
go.
Matthew will tell you, this is not an eating and drinking establishment. It's a dry goods store. The drinking is an accessory use, so it doesn't fall within that zoning. But I do want to make one comment about the DJ. In addition to what you've heard already, in that the sound will be controlled and we are constrained by our landlord to make sure we don't disturb anybody. In December, there were 3 private events in the store that were catered with catering permits with a DJ. There were no complaints. No one in the building said anything. No one complained that they heard DJ. No one complained that they heard noise or it was a problem. So we have done this, it's been tested, and they're able to do it without the building even knowing that the DJs are there. Now let me just turn it over to Matthew.
Thank you, and thank you for the concerns that were expressed. First,
Introduce yourself and
my
just
name
state
is
what your role is.
I'm Matthew Irwin. I'm the advisor and counsel in-house to Banana Republic. I am a general counsel for the company. So I do want to say first for the record is that the reason why we've traveled out here is I just happen to work in San Francisco. But as one of the general counsels for the company, Banana Republic and Gap are my clients. So that's the reason why I'm out here. We have also local field store representatives that are based here in New York. So not everyone has traveled out here. And our head of stores for Banana Republic happens to live relatively close by in Maryland. But we all came here because we know how critical of a project this is. And we also know the hearing that was heard almost a year ago. I think it was March 4th of last year. So it's not here because we are overly concerned. We just know how critical of a project it is, but also equally important, wanted to be able to communicate to the community that we're aware and try to address the concerns. So for the record, that's why we're here. I would also say is the comment was made about this isn't Banana Republic's business, isn't Gap's business. There's a host of other retailers that operate the same business, serve complimentary alcohol to their store customers as part of their business model. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're well aware of the C of O and the zoning limitations. I understand that the zoning law was changed to create the SoHo mixed use zoning district back in 2021. It has an 8,500 zoning limitation for eating and drinking establishment. But here, this use that we're proposing is incidental and accessory to the underlying retail apparel business use that is stated in the certificate of occupancy. So we've done a lot of deep exploration and examination of all the zoning land use and certificate of occupancy issues. And this does not present an issue. And I would even say with the caveat, to the extent that there are known issues, we are assured that we'll be able to work through those issues. But for the record, that zoning and C of O issue is a non-issue because this is proposed to be an accessory use to the underlying primary use, which is running a retail apparel business. And I think there was another point that was made relative to, oh, the landlord. A lot of, and I want to underscore the fact that we were well aware of what the concerns expressed last year were. And so what we endeavored to do with the landlord, and I give credit to the landlord for actually, imposing upon us or requesting that we agree to certain restrictions and limitations, as somewhat of an advocate for the community. And that's what we agreed to. So we are hopeful that that kind of smoothed out the process. And so it's not that we're here today to try to pull one over on the community. It's in fact that we genuinely try to address the concerns of the community, and we think we have done that. And that's the reason why this team is here today. It's not because there's some surreptitious feeling that we have that required us to travel from San Francisco and others to travel from Maryland. And again, we have local employees here that are part of the business. So all of us came as a team together. So I just want to make that clear, but thank you for the time.
Well, no, we're not doing the.
So
back and
can I
forth.
just,
We're
I
gonna
actually wanted to address that.
Wait one
So I
second.
just wanted to
Yeah,
address
'cause
that.
That's what I want.
So my name is Jennifer. I didn't really properly introduce myself. I'm the head of stores. So I run all the stores for Banana Republic. I do live in Maryland and I was a resident of New York City for a long time. And so are my grandparents' lifetime. So I understand the concerns. I did come in person to host the community because when I was new to the company, I did hear all the history and I thought this was important that we hear it. So we did host an open house in the Speakeasy where we did hear about the time concerns, the noise concerns, and then we regrouped internally to address those. And it is very rare we re-enter lease amendments with a landlord. Once we sign a lease, that's usually it. But because the concerns were brought forward, we have signed a lease amendment, which is very rare, and it addresses all the concerns that the tenants have brought forward. So we are held to very high restrictions legally for all of the points in noise, et cetera, food, and all of the things that were brought up in our lease terms. And I think that's worth really noting.
So when, did you meet again with the residents before this one? Because we're hearing, and I have letters here, a number of letters from people
So
that live around there. and
We
have someone here from the building.
We sent originally a year ago, we sent emails to the block associations. I sent to people I knew, to Pete, to Laura, to people I knew in the community that I've dealt with before. Pete and his block association responded. We've had a dialogue for a year.
Right, but there's
When
the other people that.
we decided to do the bottle club, I emailed Pete and his group. We told them when we were doing the speakeasy, as you've heard, we did have a meeting in the space. About a dozen residents showed up, and we met with them. And then once we decided to change to the Bottle Club, I emailed the Block Association. There were, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people on that email chain. That has been our contact.
So were any of those the people, or was anything posted in the building that people that live in the building would know? I'm just asking because some.
I think I'm unaware. We don't have access to the building, so I'm unaware of
Okay.
that. We
And I-
just addressed the concerns that were heard at the open house, like I think three months ago.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go to you, Cormac, but I'm just gonna say, your method of operation is changing?
Yes.
I mean, so therefore it would make sense that there would be a adjustment to the lease because.
Well, we were covered in the lease for these things. We just added additional restrictions. Is that correct? We were already covered. We didn't have to amend the lease, but we wanted to give the landlord comfort in extra amendments because I personally met with the landlord and said, I really want to make sure we're covering your concerns as well as your community's concerns, but I think they were already covered.
Yeah, I would say is that this model is much narrower than what we proposed back in March. This model is actually contemplated by what we've negotiated in terms of having the right to sell and serve alcohol, provided we obtain the requisite liquor licenses. Yeah, in the original lease, this agreement was made to address the sensitivities and concerns, not only that the landlord had, but also the community had. So a lot of what the community is expressing based on what we're hearing today is embodied in this agreement. So we did that agreement to try to serve that underlying purpose, of course, to have the landlord support an agreement, the consent, but also to ameliorate some of the concerns that were brought to our attention over the past 11 months.
Okay, Cormac?
Yeah, and thank you for all of that. I just want to follow up on something that that Mr. Davies said, goes to with the resident thing, which is, and I don't care where you all are from, although I'd like to go on the record that I love the state of Maryland, but there does need to be someone on site who is on, because when, if there is a problem, and maybe there'll never be, but if there's a problem, if it's noisy and things, that resident, other residents, they need to have someone they can call and reach that night, whose number they already have, a name they already have, that can reach out to and things, who's on site to manage a thing, who can fix it then, not sort of follow up over weeks later with corporate, right? And so I just want to make sure there is going to be such a person, and that name and number will be provided to people. Okay. Thank you.
We have a very large leadership team there, a general manager, 4 assistant, Lenny would know but we have a large leadership team there. Chandria, who's the general manager of the building, has a relationship with the landlord. We have a point of contact every time we have an event. The general manager is always on site. We also have a district manager that also lives in New York, in Manhattan, who runs that building. So the people who run SoHo store are physically in New York all the time. Anytime we have a major event, though, there are participants like myself that come. This is our flagship key store. So we have attendees outside of those, but always on site. There is a manager. We have a 2-manager minimum legally to support injury. So we always have to have 2 managers in the building at all times. So there is always someone on
But
site.
there will be a name or 2
Yes.
names or something, and a phone number to reach them at.
Yes, yes,
That if it's like,
yes.
1 o'clock in the morning and the party hasn't stopped and the noise or whatever kind of thing, I can reach this person now.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it'd be our general manager and as well as probably a backup district manager. If she didn't hear her phone, if it died, we'd probably have 2 names, to be candid with you.
So we should probably make sure the community board has that information because at 10 o'clock at night, that. And can you just state your full name and title? Just
Sure.
again, it's
Jennifer Drake,
Okay,
and I'm the head of stores and operations
Okay.
for Banana Republic.
for,
All Banana Republic, yeah.
okay. Okay, does anybody else from the committee have anything?
Just not understanding, why didn't you reach out to the resident in the building?
I mean, we've been in dialogue with them over time, so I think,
With the resident in your building or neighbors? Those are 2 different things.
okay. we've been in touch with the landlord directly. Yeah.
But the question was, why did you not? Okay. And
I
then,
don't have their contact information. I don't, there was no purposeful intent there. It just, we were working directly with the landlord. We hosted the open house, which people came and we answered their questions. But outside of that, I don't know what other canvassing potentially was done.
and then, secondly, the C of O on the building's been expired for a long time. So you're adding to an existing use. I'm not sure that you have the proper permits in place at the moment, since you're making no other changes to actually secure a liquor license at this point, because one of the required elements, since this is not changing any use, you haven't taken the steps to get that yet.
Yeah, so let me not get too much detail, but the long and short of it is that there is a building C of O that still needs to be retained, and that's for a number of years. So Banana Republic has been operating on temporary certificates of occupancy that, as you know, under New York DOB regulations can be renewed. Last year, we completed an alteration, which is essentially to build out the back space. That still has an open permit that needs to be closed. We have to get all of the approvals. All the inspections have been done by DOB. And so it will be a number of weeks, say 3 or 4 weeks, until that TCO is renewed. That's the reason why it shows on the DOB website as expired. But also, as you may know, and that's not to say that this is the reason, but a number of times on the DOB website, stuff may say that it's expired, although it's not. In this case, the reason why it states as expired is because there's still an open permit that needs to be closed out from our most recent alterations. But all of the Department of Building inspections have been done. We need the landlord's final sign off on the as-built documents to close that out to pull the TCO for the space.
Okay, so you just told us that you do have a TCO that's current, because the last one that I see expired 5 years ago almost.
No, we have a TCO.
Oh, can you
Yes.
provide it to us? Because that's one of our requests, and we have the one that expired.
I don't have it. with
But I
me.
don't
That-
think it exists, so you're saying it does. You're an attorney representing this firm. I mean,
Yes.
that's,
Yes.
so where is it?
So there's open permits that
I understand that, but
Okay.
you told us there's a TCO. Where is it?
there's a T, so I don't have it. Can I provide that?
Well,
Is
it's
there?
not on the Department of Buildings website,
Okay,
and I have one here that expired in 2020.
okay.
And also, you have permits for a retail store, but once you have an event, that actually changes, and that becomes a gathering, which isn't covered under, when you exceed 74 people in New York City, it's not covered and becomes an event, and a place of assembly permits required for that.
I think you're
So-
speaking about the 9092 Crosby Street, for
No,
which
I'm talking about Banana Republic. When you have 74 people gathered for an event in your location, more than 74, you're required to have a place of assembly permit or a temporary place of assembly permit. But the retail activities no longer cover that once you have an event.
the license that we're proceeding to procure, the Bottle Club license, would be an accessory use to the underlying retail apparel business use that is stated on the C of O.
Right, but you're having an event. And in New York City, it's very clear as public safety, even if you're serving alcohol, anytime you have an event, which is not centered around your retail activities, which it seems that that's the case here, because you're having people, you're having music, you're having people to come in, you're not required to buy anything, you're not open to the general public, that becomes an event.
Yeah, but that's not
Is that not true?
that's not true. That
Okay.
Like in the event, so we're still operating within our apparel selling model.
But you don't have a C of O to do that at the moment, because it's expired in 2020.
Yes, we do have a C of O. It
Wh-
does
where
not
is it?
show it. It does not show it on the website. I can't speak for Department of Buildings. And if you're
Okay,
asking
well,
me to
just, all
provide
you have
you
to do is
with,
provide it to us.
okay, that's fine. Okay.
When will we get that?
I will work on that for my team to get that as well as our
But
expediter.
isn't it posted in your store?
I don't believe, no, it's not posted in our store.
Okay.
But we have.
Because you're making a lot of representations.
Yes, yes,
that,
yes,
you know,
yes. No, I understand that,
are
but we are
unusual.
lawfully operating. We have a TCO. The TCO shows as expired. We have open permits from our last alteration that was done. The lounge was built out it was in May. So. Yeah. Yeah. So the process, I think, is, you may know, is when you apply for the initial permits and you have the initial drawings that are permitted, any changes to those initial drawings that were permitted can be self-certified by an architect. That's what we did when we built out the lounge area of the space, roughly 1,400 square feet in the back. There's 400 cellar, 1,000 square foot ground floor. That was built out. It was finalized. You have as-built drawings that are submitted to DOB. All the inspections passed for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, interior demo. That's sitting as an open permit because we haven't gotten all of the approvals from the landlord to sign off on those final as-builts. Once that is done, then the process for issuing that TCO, the new TCO following, because TCOs have to be renewed every couple of years. Once, what?
Every 90 days.
I do not think it's 90 days.
No, it's every
think
90
it's-
days.
I thought it was 2 years, Carter. Yeah, I don't believe it's 90 days.
Yeah,
And from what I understand, it's not 90 days, but
Well, the document you submitted to us is only valid for 90 days. And that's typically TCOs in New York City are
And-
valid for 90 days.
and
And they have to be renewed.
I don't have one right now, but now I'm going to have one back again, so please use the microphones. You have a microphone right to your right.
Okay, let's go back to Carter's original question a minute ago, which was going to be my question. You're so thorough. Why didn't you reach out to the people that are living in the building, to the residents? And I'm just curious how many residents live in that building. And it's easy to reach out to them. So what happened? How many people, can I ask, how many people live in that building? Anyone know? Yes, please.
How many people live in the building? Okay.
Thank you. Children, any children? Yet. Okay. Thank you. And your answer?
It's just, they answered it already. I mean, well, they, please use the
They didn't
microphone.
say.
But, I mean, that's what they did.
Sent out emails to all the block associations in the area. We heard back from Pete and Laura and their group. There were a number of people on that email. We scheduled a meeting. Mistakenly, we assumed that they would be, perhaps, we assumed that they'd be reaching out to others in the
Will you
community
be
that had a
doing
concern.
this? I think it's
The
nice if you
landlord-
could.
What?
I think it's nice to meet with the people.
Of course it is. Of
And you
course it
will.
is. Yeah, I'm sure that my clients would be happy to have a conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else from the committee have anything? No. Go ahead. Did you have something?
I wanted to make sure that I answered the gentleman's question, I believe. it's
Okay, go
Mr.
ahead.
Booth. I
You can
wanted
hear
to
it.
make sure if I gave a
I
sufficient answer.
mean, I think the sufficient answer is to send in whatever TCO you have to
Yeah,
send it into the office tomorrow,
because-
so
yeah,
that
because I
we have
can
that.
attest to the fact that we
Yeah,
are
no, just
lawfully
make,
operating.
get the paperwork into
Okay,
us is the
okay.
best thing to do. And thanks for traveling. And just also, just make sure we have the names of whoever is the general some New York contacts, or have them also, if there's a stipulation. of it,
Yeah,
might
we'll
have-
make sure
have
you
something,
as well
so, yeah,
as the
exactly.
community board, as well as the landlord have all
Okay.
the right
Okay.
names and
You got a
contact
stool.
information. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, the next application, hang on one second, is going to be, Chene LLC, 76 Carmine Street. Anybody's here on that one? Is there anything new?
The most up-to-date packet was sent in yesterday morning, and the only addition was a deck and some signatures, like a mood board. You all hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Matt Colton with Helbron and Levy LLP, here representing Shmone LLC. This is an OP application at 76 Carmine Street. That's the cross streets are Varick and Bedford Street. I have the two operators with me here. It's Alexia and Ronan. This is a fine dining French restaurant concept. Alexia and Ronan have years of experience in high-end French cuisine, both in Europe and here in New York. And this will be their first space that they're running completely themselves. Again, fine dining French restaurant, occupancy of 74 square foot. It's 1,650 square foot ground floor, 1850 basement. Basement is no patron access. It's just storage prep. Seating, there are 19 tables, 48 seats, one bar with 6 seats. As far as hours, we put in the application 12 p.m. during the week, 1 a.m. on the weekends. They had a very thorough and productive conversation with the block associations, specifically David Gruber and associates. They agreed to do 12 a.m. across the board. So we're comfortable with that. Background music only, and that's it. If you have any questions, that's what we're here for.
Okay, so, okay. Hang on one second.
Yep.
Okay, so you're closing 12 a.m.
Across the board.
across the board.
7 days a week.
You're opening 12 p.m. across the board.
That would be great. Yeah. In all honesty, would probably be 5 p.m. during the week, 12 p.m. on the weekends. But if we could just do 12 to 12 across the board, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that way I'll put some, because our STIPS read will not open later then, so I'll just adjust that so that you don't have to
That'd be perfect. Thank you, Donna.
back here again.
Outdoor seating.
outside.
Yeah, I can mention that as well. We just put it on the notice so that people were aware it was going to exist. We agreed that anything that's going to be there will close at 10. However, we need a DOH permit in order to file with the DOT, and then we're going to have to come back to you for that approval. So we're not expecting you to approve any outdoor seating here at this meeting. We just put it on
but
there so
it
people
would
were
be
aware that it would be
10
in the
p.m.
future.
Okay,
10 p.m.
now my
is
other
fine.
thing I'm just gonna say, I think just, I could be wrong, but I think that's an 11-foot 5-inch sidewalk there. That's what's on the BP map, and
Sure.
it's a 10-foot, it's a regional corridor.
Right.
So
If-
you may
if-
not be able to have the seating, and I just want to put that out there now, so in case everybody's dependent on that for their way of operating, that may not be feasible.
If we run into problems with the DOT, obviously we will take whatever can get approved. If obviously the DOT is going to have issues with that, I can't really speak to that. I don't handle DOT applications myself, but my colleague Matt will probably be back here and he can work some magic. So.
Okay, Cormac?
But on that point.
Sure.
Right? What the DOT, you're talking about working things out with the DOT. Doesn't sort of matter what concessions the DOT gave you, because your agreement here, as I understand it, with the Carmine Street and Central Village Block Associations, right, are that you will not block the pedestrian clear path, right?
Right.
So even if the DOT gives you permission for some other kind of split of the street,
Right.
it's not going to work because it says here,
That's
there's a regional corridor and you will not block it. So it doesn't matter if the DOT, which is increasingly unreliable in this current
I
administration.
hear you, yes.
You know, even if they give you permission, you've already agreed with the block associations that you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we put in a DOT application, obviously it's going to be brought back to the community board, and that agreement with the
Alright.
block association will be
Okay.
part of that meeting, and we will agree to whatever needs to be agreed to.
Gotcha.
And in theory, DOT shouldn't be approving it.
Right.
Okay, does anybody else from the committee have anything? Is there? It's a regional corridor. If they maintain the 12-foot clear path and it's 11.5 foot, so I mean, as long as they maintain the 12, right, they have to just maintain their 10-foot clear path, so whatever, but no, what I'm saying is my stipulations are going to be the same stipulations that we've kind of had. I'm not saying that you're not coming back, but I can waive you coming back. It will say that you agree to close at 10 p.m., follow all rules and regulations of the Dining Out NYC program, including maintaining the proper clear path, and that all services from within the demarcated sidewalk cafe area, because everybody's putting in their plans that do not have demarcation of sidewalk cafe area, and it needs to be demarcated, and the service needs to happen from within that. And it has to be ADA accessible, which is 36 inches. But
I just want it, because Cormac brings up an important thing, but I also just don't want to be hearing these again unnecessarily.
Right.
For the regional corridor, what's the required clearance?
10 foot.
So we just agree that you'll maintain a 10-foot
10-foot
clearance
clearance.
if you.
If that's the
I mean,
regulation,
the
100%.
stipulations
Yeah,
is-
yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just, so there's clarity, because I think that was Cormac's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're trying to
absolutely.
dispose of these so that we don't have to
Right.
hear them.
Relitigate this over and over again,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yep.
So would that make you, is that acceptable, Cormac, if we put that in there? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be a little more specific than I usually am with my things that still say
That's
all
completely
rules.
fine.
I'll put the measurement in there, and then if DOT changes corridors, we'll all be rewriting everything.
Got it.
Okay, anybody from the committee? Is there anybody here from the public on this application? Okay, I see no one. Thank you. Thank you for the outreach with
Thank you,
the
everybody.
Block
Appreciate it.
Association. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Have a good night.
Okay, the next application is going to be Sofia's Little Italy.
נחום שקד.
Okay,
Nelson's the owner.
okay.
This is a on-premise liquor license transfer.
Mike, you need to either tilt that down or turn it down. Right, thank you.
Okay. So this is an on-premise liquor license application transfer for Sofia's 143 Inc. Nelson is the current owner of the licensee PSSP NY Inc. He'll be the sole owner of the new corporation. Nelson operated the restaurant from May 2005 to February 2011 under the corporation PSSP NY Inc. when he sold it to his son Paul. Nelson then took back ownership by the way of a corporate change application in March of 2023. Has been running it since. There are no other changes to the license. 19 tables, 63 seats, 1 bar, 4 seats, full service Italian restaurant.
Just back up for me.
Yeah.
I might be being dense. So Nelson came
He-
back in 2022 and or he came
2020
to us. So
Yeah.
2023 is probably when it went through. He came to us in 2022.
Yes.
Take it back. So what's the transfer now?
So now he's opening up a new corporation per
Okay.
agreement with the landlord. He didn't want to do it. It's a great expense for him, but problems during COVID with the other corporation. The
Okay.
landlord wanted a new lease with the new corporation. That's what it comes down to.
And so what's the difference in the corporation? Are there's
A new
another partner in
corporation.
there? Is there,
Just a new entity.
okay.
He'll
Okay,
continue it.
because it also said, from your documents, that it said the owner of the current licensee opening a new entity and applying for a new license because he is giving a longtime manager equity for being a loyal and hardworking employee. So that led me to the question.
Yeah.
I'm just reading from your submission. And so I didn't see that new person on here, and that is why I'm asking. these
Yes, so
questions.
the manager left to open up his own business.
Okay, so he's no longer, so
He's no
now you're
longer
just
there.
doing a new entity, but without,
Yes,
okay. All right. So the hours are 12 to 2.
yes.
Is the basement used for the bathroom or no?
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms only, okay. And then, there's hang on one second. There's outside seating.
We will be applying for a roadside and a sidewalk. It's not going to be much.
Okay. And that will close at 11 o'clock
Yes,
and the doors close at 9 PM.
yes,
And, it's quiet background music only.
correct.
There's no TVs and, let me just see if there's anything else. Won't operate as a lounge, tavern, or sports bar. I think that's it. And there are French doors, right? There's operable, the doors along the front, do they
At the
open or?
French doors, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, does anybody from the committee have anything? Cormac,
Yeah, first, I just want to talk about those doors, because 2 AM and opening French doors make me nervous and things. What time are the doors closed? Do they close at all times, or they close
9 o'clock?
9?
Yeah,
Okay,
9. Unless there's
And-
music playing, of course.
right. And then I also want to talk about the road bed, for a minute. So that stretch of that street is perilously narrow.
Yeah.
And when we've had the dining, the sheds on both sides, it was virtually impassable, right? Are you sure you want to have roadbed dining there?
The problem is everyone else has it. And he's had it dual through COVID.
All
So
right,
he's gonna keep with the 6'6" regulation that the fire department may or may not approve, like everyone else on the block.
yeah.
is there somebody across from him?
Waivers.
Is there
Somebody
somebody across the
across from you?
street?
Somebody, a restaurant across from you? Yes, a restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, good
Directly
luck,
across.
good luck,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, you might be better off than some people.
I mean, I think it's probably outside of our purview here and all, but I mean, it's just, I wouldn't live on that block. Somebody's gonna die. That's all.
I want to go to the GOT hearings. Anybody else from the committee have anything?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good luck. Okay, the next application is going to be Vittoria 196 LLC, 194, 196 Spring Street. This is a restaurant wine application. Is anybody here from that? Yes. Stacy, it turns in the middle there. You see that dial down there? Should.
Thank you. Good evening, Stacy Weiss. I'm the attorney for the applicant, which is Vittoria 196 LLC. It's going to be a restaurant wine license. It's located at 194-196 Spring Street. The hours are going to be 11 to 11, Sunday to Thursday, and 11 to 12 Friday and Saturday. It has 18 tables, 44 seats. It's going to be, there's not going to be a customer bar. It's just going to be a service bar, 4x2 approximately.
You're just closer to the microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's much
Okay.
better.
Yeah, and let me tell you the size of the place. It's going to be a first floor with basement storage. First floor is 980 square feet, and the basement is 550 square feet, storage only in the basement. And I have the owner, Philip, here, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, is there outside with this application?
Well, it'll be put in for roadside, but we're not doing that today. I just put it on here so you know.
But yeah, we hear the whole application so that we know the whole impact of
Okay,
the application. So
yeah, the roadside.
there's a second microphone. Just do me one, there's a second microphone. You can turn it on and speak into it.
Hello,
It just might need to be turned on.
I believe it 12 seats. I
Well-
don't know exactly, but I believe it's
So,
12 seats.
so the intention is to have on the sidewalk and the roadbed or just the roadbed? Cormac, can you-
This
thank you.
road bed, yeah.
so the roadbed,
Only yes.
12 seats and up in there. And so this is an open street?
I think it's 6 tables. I don't know yet, but I think six table.
Okay, and then this
Six or seven
functions as an open street, so it's closed. I'm not sure the exact days. Carter, do you know I mean, it's closed a certain amount of time for the open streets. Uh,
Whatever.
You'll, well, that, how does that, I'm not sure how that works, because if you have something closed off, I don't think it can,
It really depends on what DOT says.
yeah, it's two different programs. It's two different programs. Well, is it, I mean,
Participating in it or?
they're saying, are you participating in? Pick up the mic. I don't mind.
Okay.
So, So are you, you're going to participate in the open streets? If the street is closed, you're participating in the open
Yes.
streets? If the street isn't closed, you're having outdoor dining and the roadbed is what you're applying for.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's French doors existing in the premises. The application, I think, says you're not
You have French doors?
operable doors. The
yes.
whole frontage is operable, or just to be clear.
Yes.
The whole frontage is operable
Yes.
windows. Okay. And private parties, how many private parties?
No.
Okay, your SLA application says 2 times a month, so that's 24 a year.
Okay.
So,
1 or 2 times a month.
huh?
1 or 2 times a month, yeah.
Okay. And, the music is background?
Strictly background music.
Okay. And then let's talk about the outreach to the block associations, because I wasn't clear on that. What I saw on the application was every block association, I think, just about on our,
We notified, there's emails in there who we notified on the block associations, and only one wrote back said they weren't gonna comment.
okay. I mean, there's a whole list of block, are these all the ones you emailed every single one in Community Board 2? Because I just see a listing of all block associations. And I mean, I know I'm happen to be on one of them that's up on Gansevoort Street, and that's nowhere near there. So there's no reason for half of these people to even responded.
This was just added to show the block associations. You could ignore that.
Okay, so which ones were reached out to? Because I think we have one person who is the local block association, which is the Village Neighbors, South Village Neighbors. that was not, didn't know about this application, and I am sure that they would be here. I mean, they're on this sheet on page 5 because everybody is on this sheet. But I don't see who was emailed or anything.
Yeah, there's,
Or was there any posting? Did you post around the neighborhood, or was there anything posted in the storefront? Or on the? I mean, I see 2 emails and neither one of these are,
just to contact,
well, it's like, you're here now, so, and they're not. And then I'm just gonna say, there have been continuous problems. You have the place next door, correct?
That's
Are-
correct.
Is that, are you getting rid of the place next door?
No,
Or are you,
no.
you're going to operate both of these
Both of them,
places?
yes.
So
There hasn't been any issues.
there have
unless-
been issues going back
lately?
from before COVID.
Right.
Well, this is why it would be interesting to have actually the Block Association here, and we do have someone set up to speak, so I will go to the public. But there have been continuous problems from 2019,
Right.
when I was first on this board, going up until continuously.
Right, but from
Continuously.
what I understand, there hasn't been any problems lately. from what I
Lately, like the
understand.
last 4 months?
No, like the last year or so.
No,
2 years.
no,
2 years.
I can speak for 2 years, and that's not the case, because I've walked by and
Has there been
seen.
any 311s in the past 2 years?
Yes, I believe there have been 311s in the past 2 years, but I don't see the date. No. So, anybody from the committee, or should I just go to the public and we'll come back to the committee? What?
Hi, I noticed on the application there was a 1 TV. What is the purpose of the TV and how large is the TV?
Go ahead.
The TV is why our company have a business in Italy, like travel agency, just to promote our service in Italy. So from Sicily, just is film from Sicily, our town.
So in other words, there's not going to be any sports
No.
at all and other things?
Maybe when you have a cup on the World Cup, maybe yes, but usually no.
When the World Cup?
Yeah, but usually no.
And how long does the World Cup last?
I don't know, but now next in 2 years, right?
And will you, when you broadcast that, of course, I understand, are you going to have sound, or are you going to have
No. It's
subtitles, or what
it's
do you,
just
caption, closed caption?
It's just TV. I don't have no speaker, nothing for the music. Just TV, nothing more.
Okay, for the World Cup and other things,
No,
other cups?
no. Even I don't care the cops. I just do for business and nothing more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
He's gonna do a loop about his business in Sicily.
Right. Okay. So how is this going? Are you operating under the same name? Are you operating as two
No.
different?
It's new. It's a new company. It's called Vittoria 196
Right, but the name's still
LLC.
Piccolo Cucino, isn't that the name
That's
of?
the DBA.
Isn't that the same
Yeah,
DBA as the
same
one?
DBA,
Right,
yes.
so I mean, it's the same for anybody, for the general public, it's one big operation.
But it's 2 separate companies.
Two identity, but the same name.
We
Same
need to use,
DBA.
yeah, there are 2 microphones. We just need to
Yes.
try to use the microphones. So how is a customer, when they're going up there, going to know which restaurant they're going to?
Well, one doesn't have a bar in it. One doesn't have a
So,
bar.
A customer is making a reservation at Piccolo to Piccolo Angelo, or coming up to Piccolo Angelo. How do they know which
So,
store they're going to go to? Because they're not going to be defining it as the one with the bar.
so is each restaurant is the name is Piccola Cucina, and on the bottle 9 is Estiatoria for 75 Thompson, is Osteria for 196 Spring, a tapas from I don't know 194 or 196, one the two.
So one's going to be called Tapas and one's going to be.
This one I want to open is Osteria. I just want to move Osteria, where is a lot of traffic. I want to put the more big space.
So you're moving the one that's currently operating,
Yeah.
that Osteria one, into this space.
This
This
space,
space
yes.
is larger, and you're
Large
putting a
space.
Tapas space
I do the small one.
next
that, yeah.
door.
Yeah.
Okay. And then is the food being,
It's the food is a completely different menu.
okay.
Yeah, I know yet. I know.
And,
Okay.
okay, and then as far as your seating goes, there's been seating all over the sidewalk. There's been seating in by the curbside of the sidewalk. There's been seating in front of the restaurant. There's been seating in the roadbed. There's been air conditioners in the roadbed. There's been point of sale devices in the roadbed. There have been people gathered all outside, and the sidewalk's been impassable.
Okay,
And there's
right
been
now-
nothing, all these complaints came up in 2019. These complaints came up again in 2021. 2022, that the neighbor whose space you're taking over now, Saint-Tropez, blamed you for all the sidewalk seat. I'm just saying, as far as I think the committee is concerned, it was 100% everybody, but they're blaming you, and your seats were all over the place there. And so I'm just looking for some reason why we wouldn't expect the same problem that happened pre-COVID, when there were seats all over the sidewalk on both sides of the sidewalk and the place was impassable, in the space you have right now, and complaints about the two other spaces you had back then, further down and everything, that this track record seems to be quite ongoing with the problems with the seating. And so you're expanding to another place next door, which in my mind just expands the potential for the problems, because I don't think it's been operated in a proper manner at any time pre-COVID or during COVID or towards the second part of COVID when COVID was done.
Right, but as of now, he has been operating a very clean place, no problems, no issues.
It's the dead of winter. Nobody's eating outside on the sidewalk in the dead of winter.
Even 2024. Yeah, are there 311 complaints in 2024?
It's, a lot of people don't call 311 also. I don't know the 311 complaints. So I'm just going to say, I don't know the 311 complaints, but I do know that not everybody calls 311 after 4 years of calling 311 on the same place. It sort of tires people out. What they do is come and say, we can't walk on the sidewalk, which is exactly what people said about both this premises and the ones next door back in 2022 and 2023.
Well, the only thing I could say is that he's going to operate without having tables all over the place, and he's going to operate a clean place. He's going to have his, whatever tables he's allowed to have according to, the outside dining or whatever is allowed. That's what he'll do. He won't violate
Okay.
that.
I mean, but I'm just going to say he was violating it in 2019 before COVID, when nobody had any reason to be violating it. And there are pictures
6
going
years
back.
ago.
That's my point, sort of, is that he was doing that 6 years ago. And when he was doing it 6 years ago, people came at 6 years ago and said that he was doing it at his other location 6 years ago. And then from then on, he continued to do it in every location he's been in. So quite frankly, I haven't seen any track record of not doing it. Cormac, I'll go to
Well, he has two other places, a place in Brooklyn and a place in Upper Manhattan, no issues. And so he's operating cleanly. He's not gonna put the tables where he's not supposed to put them. And
Let's Cormac.
Why should I believe any of that?
I just want to say, Stacy, he's a bad operator and he has been for years. And you're telling us the same thing that he said every time, I'm going to change, and he doesn't. That's what it is. You're also
What's happened last couple of years?
You're also applying for a space that was a full board matter and didn't license the outside. And those operators blamed you for the reason. This space that you're applying for
Yes.
was a full board matter at the SLA. And they said you can't expand to the outside because there's so many problems here. And they put that over for this whole year, but they closed the establishment.
Okay, well,
So-
when we come back to you for the outside area, you can deny it then.
Well, we're hearing you all in totality at the
Yeah, but He
moment.
doesn't know how many
how many tables he can have?
Well, he's been operating illegally last year. Where can you serve tables? Where can you put your tables when you have the open street program?
Well, he had them on the road.
No, I'm just asking a question. Where can you put the tables when you have the open street?
Actually, you're talking about the road.
Yeah, but with no outside seating is no, you don't
Where
make
can you
business.
put, for your existing business, where can you put the tables for the open street?
Right now, or in the.
From last year, where could you put the tables?
When you can prove in the street.
Where in the street?
I don't know, by the law where the DOT give the space, I put the table.
Where by the New York State Liquor Authority are you allowed to have your tables in the street?
Until last week, until 2 months ago, by the law where it give me the space.
No,
I
where
put
the New York
table.
State Liquor Authority, where could you have your tables in the street?
On the
Yeah,
road.
where in the roadway?
In front of my space,
Where? Yeah, but where in the street?
in front of my space.
What's the liquor authority's guidance on this?
Don't know.
I know, but I'm asking if you guys know, because you've been violating it for years and years. It's very clear where you can serve alcohol in an open street. Which is, but he,
He's allowed to.
so you don't even know.
Wait,
He
Okay.
can-
So you don't.
He's allowed.
Go ahead, Cormac.
but why now? I mean, this is what I'm asking is like, there's a man who's had a long career in our community in which he has been a scofflaw, in which he has shown contempt for the community, he's shown contempt for this board, he's shown contempt for everything. And you're telling me now he's a reformed character. And I'm asking, why? What happened? Did he find Jesus? Did he go to prison to have a life makeover? Did he have a brain like, why should I believe he's suddenly a reformed character?
Kind of inappropriate to say.
No,
that.
it isn't.
Yeah,
It isn't because,
To say
it isn't because.
This is a little inappropriate. I'm sorry.
I don't know why. Are you insulting Christians? Do you think people don't find Jesus?
I think
So
that-
there.
I think we're getting into a religious.
Yeah,
argument, which I
can we
think is
not,
ridiculous.
let's
All right,
just,
I'm
that-
asking what has changed about this person that he would now operate differently than he did for a
Because I'm
decade
advising,
before that?
I'm advising him.
I
about
see.
what he can
You're his
do.
attorney now, and so it's changed. Okay.
When I don't want to talk. When I take
You have to use the microphone,
No, when I
Stacy,
take-
either
I want to-
he's.
When I take a complaint in last 2 years, I don't understand. First of all, second way, what is the complaint with the people on the line with no line in New York City? You not survive for pay the rent. You maybe not understand, guys.
We don't
That is
understand.
my
but he-
complaint. People on the line stay there for waiting at the table. I don't understand.
The problem is, the problem I'll tell you the complaint. The complaint is that there was appropriate sidewalk seating next to the building. Just let me finish. If you're asking the question, I'll try to answer it for you. There was appropriate seating next to the building. There was totally non-compliant seating on the curbside of numbers of rows of tables. There were servers outside and service equipment for the roadbed on the sidewalk. And then there was the roadbed that had all the stuff in it it shouldn't have in it, and the air conditioners, but that's, that's a separate. But in terms of the crowds on the sidewalk, it's not a huge sidewalk. So once you put seating on both sides of the sidewalk, which it was not permitted pre-COVID in the old sidewalk cafe program, you were not allowed to have seats along the curbside. All during COVID, from day one during COVID, you were not allowed to have seating on the curbside. So once you basically flood the sidewalk with seats and leave 12 inches for the people that live there to try to go through it, and you have a line, and you have servers, and you have everybody going back and forth to the roadbed, it blocks the sidewalk. And the sidewalk is to be shared by restaurants that are trying to make a living and by pedestrians that are trying to go from point A to point B. And that is called sharing the city sidewalks, and that's what's supposed to happen. And there were rules in place to do that. There were rules pre-COVID, there were rules during COVID, and there are rules now. So he hasn't followed those rules from pre-COVID to any time during COVID to, and I think that the question is really, since this history is at so many locations in our neighborhood, I'm not going to Brooklyn and Uptown or wherever else. and it's been a continual track record, I think that Cormac's question, regardless of how he phrased it, is what is different, and you're expanding the space. So right next door. So whoever is trying to walk there with the bad operation that's happened, it's now almost, it's, I don't know, it's more than doubling that area because the other storefront is larger. So.
Okay. First of all, whatever,
Then I'll go to-
whatever they say, whatever the liquor authority allows or whatever.
But that,
DOT
I think to Carter's point, that's what was supposed to be happening before whatever the liquor
Okay.
authority allowed, and it wasn't paying any attention to what the liquor authority or the city allowed.
But I
So
wasn't-
why all of a sudden, with somebody who has a long track record of not paying attention to anything, either by DOT or the liquor authority, would one think that all of a sudden there's going to be some compliance with anything?
Because he wants to comply and I'm his attorney and I'm advising him.
Okay.
You can laugh. I mean.
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just meant to say what changed.
I'm advising him. That's what I could tell you. I'm advising him. That's what I could tell you.
We have a track record.
But I have a point.
Just-
No, I just want to tell that you tell me about the pandemic, right? Our restaurant no respect the rules. So 3 days before pandemic happened, our restaurant go on fire. Almost for 2 years, this location 196 Spring is no operate, but is closed fire. So the Saint-Tropez space take our space and put the table. It's nothing to do with Piccola Cucina.
We've heard this from both of you infinitum over the years, but from 2019, there was seats all over the place. So that was pre-COVID. There were his seats all over the place in 2019. It's
Okay,
all,
but 2020, 2021,
yes,
he was closed.
2022, he wasn't closed. He wasn't closed. And 2022, he was certainly not closed. And
Okay.
I personally took my own photographs walking by because
Okay.
I could not be,
Okay,
because we
that
kept
was,
hearing
that was
stories of
3
two
years ago.
places. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to the public. Darlene Lutz, and if there's anybody else here from the public on this one, come on up and you can fill out a speaker card afterwards. Stacy, can you put the microphone please back in there and let Darlene come up?
Hello, my name is Darlene Lutz.
Ooh.
I always, that always happens. I'm a longtime resident of this neighborhood over 46 years now, and I'm going to speak in the beginning on regarding my position with the First Precinct Community Council, because these premise have been on, the meeting radar of both our sector cops and also of the precinct captain because of a lot of issues. They joined Felix and a pasta bar as some of our bigger offenders. Felix.
The restaurant
Felix, yeah. Restaurant Felix, who has the big screen TVs for the soccer games, the cup. Anyway, I'm very familiar with this restaurant. And by the way, congratulations.
Talk to us.
Congratulations. This is a very, very popular restaurant. It always has been. Philippe is an American success story. Seriously, I mean, he has built a small empire. So America's been good to him. New York City's been good to him. And if it's a little slithery on the rules, well, that's what's happened. His first operation in New York was on Thompson Street. That still exists. If we all recall, at least I do, because 2008 is in my memory, when noise was an issue, this was an issue with this restaurant because it was making a lot of noise, banging pots and pans for birthdays. It was very jovial. It was a very lively place, but still, there are people who live there. They didn't want to live through everybody's birthday who came to the restaurant every night. So when he opened up on Spring Street, more of the same activity. And I have photographs from May of 2020. Now, May of 2020 was 2 months into the shutdown, 2.5 months. Outdoor dining was not a twinkle in the eye yet. It was spoken about, but that was not put into whatever regs until June 25th of 2020. I walk by there all the time. I walk by this place practically every day. I have thousands of photographs from the last 5 years. In May of 2020, they were serving booze. They had a setup to sell, drinks. And I was like, drinks, not a glass of wine, but drink. And, we kind of all know how that went during that time. There were no rules for anything. So I believe I've sent you dozens of photographs over, the months. If we want to catch up in the last year or so, or even since last summer, Saint-Tropez shut down, it just petered out by July of 2024. That pretty much killed because I contacted the DOT because they were the operators of that open street. So the open street went away and then became open to traffic again. But Piccolo actually used all of their space on the sidewalk against the building and doubled up. I have tons of photographs of that. There are 3 tree pits there. I noticed that the diagram, the hand-drawn one for the outdoor dining, did not have any of the notations of the tree pits or the utilities that are in there, which have become on the streets, which have become of note for, where sheds can go and where seating can go and the rest. And now they will have not a contiguous restaurant, because this is in one building and the entrance to the residence upstairs. And I believe it is probably a rent regulated building, half and half as they toss them out. But that entrance is now going to be on either side of the the Piccolo Tapas and the Piccolo Osteria. So I feel for them. There's a lot of noise being generated here. It is very, very, very popular. And, and I would say, problem that I have with outdoor dining now is that restaurants are cannibalizing other restaurants and taking business away, because this is, we know, sales for tourists. They come, they want to go to this restaurant, they heard about it, it's too full, they'll go to the next place down the street. And that's good for everybody's business. Thank you.
Okay. Sidewalk use
Sidewalk use.
recently? This summer?
Oh, I was out this morning. I was out this morning and have some pictures. Everybody's behaving themselves. So, except, yeah.
Well, it's winter.
Everybody's, they're behaving, they have most of the stuff off the streets. Because they want, because they knew this was coming up, but, those, I'm
This
still.
summer, how was it?
This past summer?
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
This
summer, this fall.
I want to say that, because they had they had the stuff on the sidewalk, the sheds, and then the outdoor, then the open street. So it was these, from a restaurant that served 20 people, it went to serving 80 covers, 90 covers at a time. I don't know how they did it, but I was kind of amazed at business overall during the summer, which was really down.
I was just trying to find out if they still had seats in the amenity zone on the sidewalk.
Yes, they had those in the amenity zone in the sidewalk
Okay, that's what I
until
was-
I have my last pictures are from November, and there's still tables out there. So I'd be happy to give you those. And they were all along.
And do you know when the roadbed went down?
Yes, it went down I think it was December 1st, maybe. It was very close. It was very close to the November 29th. It was after Thanksgiving, which was late this year.
November 1st.
Yeah, I probably have photographs. There's so many photographs. I need a portfolio album just for.
Okay,
people to get
thank you. Anybody else from the public here on this application? No. Okay. Thanks. Oh, no. Pull it out, Stacy.
Okay, so, you know,
You just have to use it, though.
hello,
Yep.
hello?
People.
Okay, so, I mean, all I could tell you is that he's gonna follow whatever the rules are. I can't tell you anything else. I can't promise you anything. I could just tell you I'm advising him what to do to follow the rules. Okay, now, it's a restaurant wine license. He's got additional space now, so he won't have to take up the entire sidewalk because he has that additional space now next door. He will follow whatever the SLA allows, whatever the DOT allows, whatever anybody allows, DCA, whatever. He'll follow those rules. He won't add other tables because he's agreeing to that he's gonna go by the rules. You good?
Right.
I mean, that's a lie. He does break the rules and he has.
Yes,
I mean, look, that's.
denying that he has.
Okay.
Yeah, Right,
Well,
right,
So.
right.
You know,
So,
you're gonna follow the rules.
yeah, but he doesn't know the
Okay,
rules, so
right.
it's hard
No, no,
to
no.
follow the rules. He was going to follow the rules before. Okay.
You know, it's interesting. We have quite a number of open streets within our community board. And this is the only open street that we received complaints that it's operated in a manner that is incredibly disruptive.
I
It's
understand.
happening from the restaurants. We don't have problems with other open streets.
Okay, I understand.
I mean, this is just an ongoing issue. Why would we have an operator that already participates in that creates extreme discomfort for the community? Why would we continue that? I mean, that's not helpful to finding a balance in the community. And then saying there is no problem kind of doesn't
Well,
help with that. So.
I'm not
I mean,
denying
it's,
that.
you
I
know,
I
we
understand
have
that.
plenty of other open streets that are full of restaurants that don't have problems with the neighbors in the neighborhood. They don't block the sidewalks. People walking their dogs, walking down there. You can pass by. These issues don't exist. I mean, to the extent that the liquor authority held over any outdoor seating for this particular location for this whole past year.
Well, it wasn't for him. I mean,
Well,
it was for the
his
location.
name was mentioned throughout the hearing.
Both places were brought up and pictures were shown of both places and.
Well, I wasn't
they-
aware of that. I had no idea that.
And that's why, and it was held over specifically, I think it was January until September or October to see how, if
When was this hearing? Excuse me.
this was
When-
at a full board hearing at SLA for this location for St. Tropez.
Oh, okay, but it wasn't.
No, but it's the
Specifically
same
for
thing we're
him.
hearing now. It's the same thing this committee has heard multiple times. Each person blames the other one, but quite frankly, as someone who walks down the street, both were horrible and different levels of horror. I mean, you couldn't walk down, if you're a pedestrian, they were horrible. If you're eating
Okay.
Italian food and you're making money off of your business, it's great. I'm just, as a pedestrian
I
walking the
understand.
street, they were not, you couldn't.
All right,
go.
but he also has
So-
space now.
So I'm
okay?
just saying that, the location, the full board put it over because of all of that to see if people could start complying with anything and,
So
that
wasn't
was-
the decision wasn't made or was?
no, and then, as you know, she did, the decision was not to license the outdoor. Nothing was done with the application. They were told to return so that they would have a track record to base something on, giving them the opportunity for the rules to come
Yeah,
out and for them
okay.
to comply with the
Okay.
rules. And then they're not there anymore. So it wasn't heard again this fall because
Okay.
they're no longer there.
All right, so they have the opportunity to do that too. obviously.
Well, fine.
It's a restaurant wine,
Right, we got it. We got it.
you know, but if we would prefer to have you approve with whatever the
Right.
stipulations, instead of us having to go to the liquor authority and,
We don't
you
prefer
know,
that.
we won't have the stipulations. We're willing to listen to you and
Right.
abide by
I
your
think,
stips.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the committee thinks about it. Thank
All
you.
right? All
Okay,
right. Thank you.
thanks. Okay, the next application is going to be Delta Charlie, New York City LLC at 5 Spring Street. It's an on-premise for a tavern with a rear yard.
Thank you.
She asked me to bring it, so I thought.
See what the office tells you to do.
It's very good. I'm going to reference this letter in just a few moments, so I figured I would just give you a copy of it. So you know what
Okay.
it references. There. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah,
How's
just
that?
speak,
All right.
yeah.
Can I get started?
Yep, go right
Well,
ahead.
good evening. My name's Mike Palutis.
Closer
I'm
to
he-
the mic,
I'm here
okay.
this evening on behalf of Delta Charlie. I am joined this evening by 3 of our clients' principals.
You have to, yeah, you have to really speak right up to the mic. Yeah, or pick it up.
So I'm joined this evening by 3 of our clients' principals. Starting on the left, we have Jimmy Toohey. Jimmy has owned and operated Tom and Jerry's with his partner Giles Cooper for the last 30+ years. To Jimmy's right, you've got Dan Delaney, who operates Beyond the Pale at 53 Spring Street. And to my left, you have Killian Carolyn, who is the bartender and manager at Tom and Jerry's and has been for several years. I suspect that the committee is familiar with Tom and Jerry's. It is somewhat beloved neighborhood establishment. And you may recall Dan Delaney from multiple appearances that he made before opening at 53 Spring Street, I think in 2022. So this location has been operated with a full on-premises liquor license since 1998. The current licensed hours are 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 nights, with a rear yard closing at 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Our client is here this evening seeking the same hours and largely the same method of operation, although different to the current licensee. They are not seeking to offer a DJ. So in that way, this is a slightly less imposing method of operation. The establishment will undergo significant renovation and rebranding. Although the trade name is not yet settled on, you should expect that it will be built out as a upscale cocktail bar with similar trimmings to these gentlemen's other establishments. Indoors, they will offer 10 tables with 34 seats and 15 seats at the bar. The rear yard will have 18 tables with 36 seats. The applicant has done significant community outreach. This afternoon and again this evening, I submitted just about 100 signatures in support of the application, including 3 from within the building at 5 Spring Street. They rang bells and knocked on doors in 5 Spring Street
it wasn't easy. They slipped the letter that I gave to all of you just a few moments ago under the door in each unit. And they really tried to communicate with the people that live in the building.
And so they heard back from them. I'm just,
They didn't, but they were able
Okay.
to get signatures from 3 people that live upstairs.
okay, how
Okay.
many are upstairs? Do you
Uh,
know? Okay,
Okay. So I handed out a letter just a few minutes ago. So in addition to knocking on doors and ringing bells, these gentlemen also posted this letter outside of 5 Spring Street and outside of 2, 4, 6, and 8 Spring Street. And they also posted the letter at 196, 198, and 200 Bowery because those buildings have units that face onto the rear yard. So I think they also posted that letter next to all of the yellow CB3 notices that were posted in the neighborhood. Um,
I will say residents do appreciate those yellow CB2. I just got a compliment on them today, Mark, so thank you.
they were trying to piggyback off of that. So they've also submitted more formal letters of support from some of the neighbors at Tom and Jerry's and at Beyond the Pale. Notably, there's a letter from Kim Doe, who I believe was here in opposition to the 53 Spring Street application. And I think Dan Delaney took his promises very seriously and worked hard to make sure that those neighbors were kept happy. And he did so to the extent that Mr. Doe was willing to write a letter of support for him here. So I think that speaks to his commitment. And
Can I just ask you one question?
Sure.
Did you send that letter of support into the?
It's in the
It's in the
packet, and
packet.
it
Okay,
was
so the
sent-
packet might have things that, or it might be, okay, got it.
it was sent to Francine as well, but
I mean, I have my letter in the drive. That's. Is it?
it's a
Okay.
Gmail, it came as an email.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
I mean, I also reached out to them and heard the same thing, so.
You heard similar?
Yeah. They
Good,
were-
great.
Rocky start, everything smooth since.
Great. And last but certainly not least, they met twice with Michelle Campo and her associations. And I believe as a part of those discussions, agreed to only have one television in the space. That was something they discussed yesterday, and that's been agreed to. So these are seasoned operators. They've been in business a long time. They're known to the community. They're known to this committee, I think. I would submit that they've proven to be respectful and responsible operators and good community stakeholders. I'd ask that you support the application, but we're also, of course, happy to answer your questions.
Okay, I know we have some people from the community here. Does anybody from the committee have anything before we go to the public?
Yeah, I would just say we just got letters from 202 Bowery that were in opposition, and you hadn't mentioned that as an area that you posted, and it represents, I guess, I'm not sure if it's a condo or co-op.
They posted
and
at 200 Bowery. I know that.
And it references specifically some of the rear yard noises. So I think that was the main. And there are a number of other folks, but they all seem to live in that building, I believe.
Would you like me to speak to that, Carter?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that the current operator has been a challenge to work with. And I don't know all the gory details, but I've heard some rumblings, and I don't want to disparage him, but what I want to say is if you look at these guys in terms of their operating history and records, I think you can count on them to be responsive in terms of how they operate that rear area. They will be at your disposal, and you'll have phone numbers for both of the gentlemen to my direct left, Killian and Dan. So they will address issues as they arise and really work to see that they don't.
Okay, and I think before they were supposed to have umbrellas on top of everything and no music out there, but
I'm
and
sorry?
umbrellas on, for that
There's a canopy
backyard?
that, there's a canopy
Canopy.
that covers the entire rear, the rear
Okay.
area. It's actually enclosed on all four sides. There's a glass enclosure at one end of it. I have some photographs if they're helpful.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of it is complaints about the noise coming from the rear yard specifically, not, that seems to be, which is often the case, of the biggest complaint from people that I'm seeing. Yeah, and these came today. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, is there going to be, will the TV be in the rear yard?
Just use the mic.
It's quite unlikely that the TV will be in the rear yard as such. Having spoken to Michelle last night, we didn't discuss specifics of where we would put the television. We'd want to put it somewhere where it would be probably most visible. So closer to the front of the bar counter, where it existently was under the previous tenant in there. They had 3 televisions, one in either corner of the bar. Ours would probably be closer to the front, which is about, I'd say, 20 feet from the front door.
And how large is this TV?
We haven't discussed that yet.
Will you be having closed caption?
Unlikely. I don't think closed captions necessarily. If people request it, perhaps. It'd be very seldom we put the sound on, if that's what you're asking. At Tom and Jerry's, where I operate existently, it is extremely seldom we ever have the sound on for our televisions, let alone our televisions on at all. They're very discreet, and it'll probably be much the same.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I think.
I mean, I've said this to you directly. We've spoken, but the rear yard is the one unknown here at this location. That's been a problem, but you'd also mentioned that you might be enclosing it or having some sort of a
So it
canopy
is-
or.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, well, what, just, so if you could just tell us a little bit more about that, because I think that's the concern, and just seeing these letters that had just come in today. We also had about, 20 people come here in the past about the rear yard against it. So it has been an issue. So any improvements are very helpful to understand, and whatever the hours that you're operating the outside. And if you have sporting events, when people are yelling, which is what is hard to cover up if they're outside, people hear that, so the differentiation, I think, is the big issue of sort of parsing this where it's not a problem versus having it, and it's okay, versus people being in there and making a lot of noise. So tell us more about that.
Yes, so at present, the backyard is completely encased. It is a fully enclosed roof. I was actually there today. Serendipitously, I walked past and the gate was up. It's been closed since the previous tenant left on Saturday. So I passed through, went inside, spoke to the super. I told him who I was, so he let me walk through. I took photographs of the backyard. It was fully encased. It's got double glazed glass frontage, and that encloses at a wall. The roof.
What is the roof made out of?
It looks like some sort of fiberglass.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like it's just canvas.
No. Yeah. And they've got lights strewn over it, so it's permanently closed. A number of years ago, I was in there. I don't specifically remember it being as enclosed as it existently is. I'm not sure if he did that recently. But we would very much maintain a state of affairs whereby that hopefully won't be an issue ever again in the future. And the reason we didn't go as far as 202 Bowery was we thought it was a bit far north.
Okay.
3 buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, right. There were three buildings. The 3 buildings that we did post on, they're pretty wide, I would have thought. And so that's the only reason why we didn't go
Okay.
further.
And so you're not gonna have the TV back there?
No.
No. Okay, that's positive for me. And no music back there? Is there? I think that's what the old thing said. I'm just pulling up what the old.
Yeah. There's existingly no speakers there. With being fully enclosed, if we did have any speakers, it would be limited, and we are only applying for 11 PM at the very latest for that to be in use.
Okay, I'm going to go to the public and hear from them, and then we can just
No problem.
address. Okay, so I have Michelle Campo and Carol Davis. If you would like to come up, both come up together, and you can figure out on your way up who's going to speak first.
My name is Carol Prudhomme Davis, and I'm wearing two hats here. I live across the street at 8 Spring Street. I've been a community activist focused on keeping as few bars as possible in the neighborhood. My other hat is I have a nonprofit of the neighborhood, Inside Change from Within. I have known Giles way before I knew Killian, and he has always been extremely community-minded. He has put up exhibitions of art of the community. I had 2 shows myself and actually sold things. When Killian came in after the pandemic, he expanded that. And he opened the doors to my nonprofit. And one of the things we do is we represent unhoused artists and Lower East Side activist artists and emerging artists. And they opened the doors, they let us have a benefit there, which we could not have afforded to do. They have put up exhibitions of my artist art on the wall and given openings. But just recently, Killian called me and said, I want to bring the community together. And we had an opening of one of my artists, David Carbone. And we invited the businesses in the community. We invited community organizations. We invited politicians that represent the community, and we invited artists that, of course, were going to come. People came, they mixed, they talked, and they were really surprised that they were invited because they had never mixed with every layer of our community. I have never, it's been 15 years since I've endorsed a bar, but I endorse this bar because I know it's going to be a tavern for the community. And right now, we need a place that we can go as a community and feel community. And that is what 288 has been, and that is what Killian has shown me over and over again. I got no problem going across that street if it's loud at all, because I know he's going to hear me. So I vote yes.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, state your
Usually
name.
again, okay.
State your name.
Good. Michelle Campo.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee. I met several times with Killian and also with last night with Daniel and with some other members of the community. We found out what they were going to be doing, and I was at 288 when they at Tom and Jerry's, which I keep thinking of Ben and Jerry's. I know, but my mind goes there. And it was very nice. It was very, as Carol said, community oriented. I like that. And I like the idea of having somewhere you can go and actually converse with friends, you know, and not be just blasted out of your mind. Noise is a very objectionable thing for me. And we went through all the different things that he wanted to do, and I told him what I thought, and he told me what they thought. And you know, when I heard the hours, when the lawyer said what the hours were, what were they? Because it seemed different.
No, it's 4 AM on the inside. It's been that way, just saying. 7 days a week, 12 AM to 4 AM. And then the rear yard closes at 10 PM Sunday to Thursday and 11 PM Friday and Saturday.
Well, this I have a problem with. Sorry. we
Talk to
didn't-
us.
And that the back should be 9 until Thursday and 10 on the weekend. And the hours should be 2 AM, period, closing time every day. Or 1 PM during the week, 1 AM, sorry. But that's, a wild shot. And, but I think that they're responsible and responsive, and I got a good feel about this. And whereas the Sweet and Vicious lived up to its name, and people could not sleep there who lived there. They had to put white noise machines and pillows over their heads. And that was, on down the Bowery and on down Spring Street. And I think that believe that this will be different, better, not objectionable. I still think that instead of having a phrase like background music, which I have yet to hear what would really be background music, when I could hear it down the block, I think it should have a decibel level attached to it,
Okay.
Aside from that, I think
I'd say at conversational levels.
I know somebody down at 206 Bowery, when Sweet and Vicious were there, he could hear all the sounds at night, and that's halfway down the block. So if it's an improvement, it's an improvement, and I think it will be, and I'm hoping it will be. I
Okay.
believe in these guys, so,
Okay.
okay.
Cormac, did you have any questions for Michelle or no?
Actually, I want to answer her question. I can't speak for the committee or for the larger law in New York or anything like that. But just so you know, as a longtime member of this committee, and I've explained this to applicants before, my own definition of background music would be that if you can be hearing it, other than maybe immediately in front as you walk by the place, if you can hear it across the street or a few doors down, it's not background.
Exactly.
And if you have to raise your voice in the place to be heard over it, it's not background music. I understand it's not as technical as you'd like, but just so you know, that's the way I view it. And I think there are other people on the community board, at least, who view it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Michelle, did you talk to them about the hours at all or?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Are you here to speak on it? Yeah. So come on, why don't you speak? And then if you don't mind filling out a speaker card when you're done, just so I have your name and everything and in writing, that would be great. Go right ahead and introduce yourself.
We are actually tenants of 202 Bowery.
Oh, okay. Good.
While we were not one of the ones who submitted a letter against it.
Okay. Can you just state your name?
Daniela Loya.
Okay.
We are the unit that has the patio in the building that's adjacent to what this would be, which
Okay.
is why we're here. Our building sent us a message being like, this might affect you. And so we do have a rescue dog that's very sensitive to noise and like a lot of chaos. So we're just really concerned about that kind of a lot of noise and things being thrown over like the
Yeah, go ahead, state your name too.
Yes, I'm co-tenant Robert Kantrowitz
Okay.
with a K. Yeah, so the prior tenants, I think we would hear noise late into the evening. I think probably past when their license was there, like I'm pretty sure like 1 or 2 in the morning. So
Okay.
just like would want to understand more how we get like assurances from these folks here that the noise won't continue late into the night. And I know you're obviously going to try to be respectful as you can, but I guess some of the things I noticed was like a non-committal response with respect
Talk to
the
us, not to
speaker.
them. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry,
That's
the
okay.
speaker. We'd like to get some assurances with respect to the speaker situation as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, on that.
This one here? And then that's this, right? Right.
And how long have you been there?
Since October, we just moved.
Okay, so yeah, so.
We
you came-
experienced it as we moved in. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. When we would just be trying to sleep and it would be like well into the night, there would be some noise.
Okay. Right in that side. Okay. So,
Just because you haven't had the dialogue. So if they were closing the rear yard at those earlier hours and didn't have speakers out there or TVs, and they were closing that retractable thing, you know, at whatever time, you know, some agreeable time, I mean, is that going to be a problem, do you think? Or what's, I'm just trying to figure out, since you haven't had a chance to talk to them, what.
It would be
And you haven't been
totally
there
fine if
either,
it
so.
was like actually like shut down at the time. We've just had experience with other people going past that, and so it's been an issue. We just want it like being kind of strict.
so that, why don't you, if you want to, why don't you talk to them? And then I'll just call up the next application and go way in the back there, so you're not disrupting us, and just have since you didn't have an opportunity to talk to them, and just see if, you know, yeah, whatever, just whatever. I'd rather now, so we can reflect upon it.
Like be shut down.
Yeah,
like,
so
or
that, just go
anything
talk to that,
would
yeah, just go,
like,
do you, right?
like,
Right.
Oh, no, no.
No, go ahead with the questions. So, okay, so you'll go and talk to them now? Okay, perfect. So,
told by the building to come here.
perfect. So no, because I'd much rather have you all talk, since you didn't beforehand, and see what we can, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to, but it's just much better to try to solve this here and now than some other point. So, okay. Cormac, go ahead. I think you have questions for the applicant. Okay, so he's going to have questions for the applicant, and then, okay, so we just have a few more questions for the applicant. Don't go anywhere, then you can go talk to them, and then we'll call you back up. Okay, Cormac, go ahead. Then Lois.
Yeah, hi, hello, and thank you all for coming back. I want to just ask get some clarity on the yard, because something Donna alluded to earlier, but I didn't sort of hear much response and things to it. Yeah, the previous stipulations for this location operator, you know, had things like, you know, I mean, it had all kinds of things like signs in the yards that asked people to keep the noise levels down, right? Umbrellas and things. I know you showed the picture of what the thing is now. But one of the things that very clearly is no music played in the rear yard. It also has the stipulation about windows and doors remaining closed at all times, which I would assume also apply to the backyard, that you're not going to leave doors and windows open to it from the inside. And I just want to get clarity if you're accepting those tips now going forward, or there's a change now.
I spoke with Killian as we sat there,
Yeah.
and he understands and agrees that there will be no speakers in the rear yard, and
No speakers
None.
in the rear yard, and no TVs in the rear yard.
and no TVs.
Okay.
They're willing to stipulate to both of those
And
things.
no live music in the rear yard.
And
There's no live
no
music.
music anywhere in the
Anywhere.
premises. None.
Just wanted to be clear on that. Thank
There's
you.
no live music and no
Absolutely.
DJs
That's
and
what we
no
were discussing
jukebox
as
and
we
no
sat.
karaoke.
On? Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
And they're
Lois,
gonna
did you
discuss
have
that with
one
the
quick
folks at
question
the
for them?
Question,
Yeah.
yeah, with the rear yard, from the picture, you have lights there. When do the lights go out? When do you close the light?
Those lights actually belong to Sweet and Vicious, right? So what the photos I gave you,
Uh-huh.
those photos are of what's there currently. So that
Okay.
that enclosure will still be there when they're finished renovating, but it's not going to look like that.
Well, are you having lighting there? Are you
That's a
going
good
to be,
question.
what kind of lighting are you
I
having?
want to know what kind of lighting you're going to have and what time the lights.
Yeah.
Will turn.
There will be lighting, but given that the roof will be completely closed, come at the very latest 11 p.m., there will be no visibility of any lights from any neighbors.
There'll be no what?
no neighbors will be able to see any lighting. It's completely closed. It's not transparent.
I'm just gonna, right,
All the lights be facing downward.
yeah. Do the lights go down instead of
Well,
going
they
up
do
into the
existingly.
sky?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, they will be.
I want him to go, I want them to go talk and then we can,
Because with lighting, when you have bright lights, people talk more animated, and when you dim it, people usually speak softer. So do you think that you could graduate over the,
It will most certainly be ambient lighting appropriate to the hour of the evening.
yeah?
And in our other locations, we dim lights, obviously
Are the
indoors.
TVs gonna have
Yes.
lighting too?
Yes, there will, but they won't be, certainly won't be facing upward. They'll be only for use in the yard, hopefully as limitedly affecting of neighbors like these as possible.
Okay, thank you.
so here's what I'd like you to do. Why don't you just, all of you go and just talk way back there with the, and talk about the hours.
Yeah, and it's okay if there's a disagreement, just figure this out, because we can't figure this out. Yeah.
We're happy to speak. We're going to speak with them now.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of items just to close up before,
Oh,
so
sure.
we will have a chance to address you again.
Yes, no, don't go. I want to resolve. Since you didn't have a chance to speak to the 202 and they all haven't had a chance to speak to each other, just speak with everybody. And like Carter said, you don't have to agree on everything. I just want to know where everybody stands on everything. Great, thank you. Michelle, if they all want to go back, you can join them if you want to join them. I don't care. And then also, what's their names? Daniel, is that right? Danielle and Robert, just make sure you fill out a speaker card when you're done, okay? Okay, I'm gonna call up the next application, which is Mishka New York LLC, doing business as Mishka SoHo 517, 519 Broadway. I'm just going to reiterate to the Delta Charlie folks, please take it to the back. Thank you. And whisper tone.
Sometimes some eyeglasses that may have been from a previous, so you can hear in your comments, and if not, I'll take it back to the office.
Good evening, Martin Miller for
And
the applicant.
Marty, you can bring that
Pull it
up.
up.
If it twists at the bottom, if you need to
Hey,
raise it at all.
can I just take it
We
off?
can hear you.
Yeah.
You can take it off, whatever. Yep.
This is better. All right, in any event, first of all, I'd like to thank the board for allowing this matter to come back. It's here for reconsideration.
Darlene. Thank you. Go ahead.
And the reason we were asking for reconsideration is twofold. One,
You got to hold it up.
I'm sorry.
Thing.
I'd like to address the stipulation that was given to me. And two, I'd like to introduce Michael Podolsky, who was not here the last time, who you did want to see. And he will speak if you have any questions of him. But I just would like to go over the stipulation that was given to me. We have no problem with most of what was done. It's an RW, restaurant wine. The hours are what we said. It's a full service restaurant serving Eastern European food. It will not operate as a lounge. It will not there'll be no backyard garden, et cetera. It will not use the side yard unless it gets proper permits, and then we'll have to come back before you anyway. It will play background music. It will now. Let me skip the 12 parties. Let me skip the televisions. We'll close all doors. We'll not install French doors or have French doors. Will not make any changes to the existing facade. Will comply with the New York City building regulations. I'd like to skip the unlimited drinks for a second. Some of the things that it should not have. And the last three, it also agrees with. You know, it will not add principles unless going before the board. It will not make any changes to the stipulation unless agreed upon with CB2. And will appear before CB2 for change in method of operation. Well, all of that's agreed to. So let me go back to what I skipped.
Yep.
Will not have more than 12 parties per year.
Hang on one second. People in the back, can you just please keep it down just a little bit? Because thank you. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I tried to explain to Ms. Podolsky what that means. The liquor authority understands that a private party is something that's conducted and closes the premises down for the entire night.
Correct.
Mr. Podolsky has events in the premises. He's Ukrainian. I mean, to give you a direct example, he's Ukrainian and has a Ukrainian business group that meets in the premises for about a 3-hour period. They discuss business events. They discuss various events associated, I guess, with Ukrainian business, et cetera. He hopes to expand that sort of thing, but it will not close down for the entire evening. No more than 3 hours while it's open. So the 12 events, the closure of the 12, I'm sorry, the
When would those happen, at night or during the day, or?
Well, let him, right now it's happening during the day, but please speak to him as to exactly when it will be. With respect to the televisions, there are presently 2 televisions inside the premises. It's not for sporting events. It's not for anything like that. Let him explain exactly what it's for. With respect to the unlimited drinking, Section 117A of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law allows for drinking while food is being served. And that's which we're not talking boozy brunches, no naked women running around outside in front of the place or anything like that. But there are brunches and these business meetings that he has. They're serving full meals, and if the party wants it.
Just give me clarity on this, because this sounds more like these are run as events where.
No, well, let him explain it. But I just, if you want, I made copies of 117 of the ABC
I
law.
don't need 117 of the ABC law. I need to understand how the place is operating.
Okay, no, but I let him fully explain that. But I just want to go over, there's one other, with respect to dancing is not a problem, promoted events are not a problem, cover charges are not a problem, scheduled performances are not a problem, velvet ropes are not a problem. Security, if he has an event like some sort of wedding or something, he may want security, but it's not an everyday thing. But the things that he wants clarity on are DJs and live music. For example, during the Ukrainian events, somebody was playing an accordion. I mean, it would only be one piece, either an accordion or guitar. That he would like to speak about. With respect to DJs, I explain what you consider a DJ. He just wants to know that if somebody were to change records every once in a while, because that's what's asked for, is that?
No, that's a DJ. I mean, I'm just to be, I know he's going to speak, but you're asking, I'm telling you right now, as soon as somebody's in there changing things, it's a DJ. That's how I believe we interpret a DJ.
I respect what you're saying. Let him address
He can
it.
explain it. Yep.
Okay.
I was just explaining what our definition is of a DJ.
Dear Community Board, thank you for
Thank
seeing me. Sorry I wasn't available in January. I'm back. I've heard Martin told me that you wanted to see me. I'm here. I'm a man of a word that when I'm required to put a signature, I want to completely understand what am I signing for. So that's why I asked to be here even more. I would love, so TVs, yes, we do have 2 TVs. We run YouTube food shows on those TVs, on one of them, on a bigger one. On a smaller one, it's connected to my security cameras if I need to look something up. So that's what.
A TV connected to a security is security. It's not a TV. I mean, you're not broadcasting something to the. Right, that's fine. That's fine.
Says do not have televisions.
Right, that's not what we consider a television. That's a security screen.
I'm just going with what's written, and I have to sign here.
Right.
Okay, yes, please explain it to me on a piece of paper. I'll be happy to sign it. Okay, so TV running. I understand that sports events is a problem. There is no intention to run sports programs on TV. We may put Ukrainian music on from YouTube, conversational level sound. There is no extra sound that's coming from it. The building is a commercial building, full commercial building. There are no residences there. We don't produce extra sound. It's conversational level. Please take it into account. Events. 12 private events. I would love for you to explain to me what private event is.
So what we mean by a private event is that the restaurant is closed to the public. Well, no, we actually, I mean, they're asking, originally the license, they said 5 o'clock, I believe is what the original, hang on one second, I wasn't prepared to discuss all of this. So yes, what we had here, it said 5 PM on Monday, then it said 1 PM to 10 PM and 1 PM to 11 PM. And then, let me just finish. And so then what happened when last month was she was asking for 8 AM so they can serve breakfast and lunch. So I mean, when we say private events, it generally means when it's closed to the public, because if it's supposed to be open for breakfast and lunch or whatever, look, it's a restaurant. Restaurants in the city do close for private parties. They all close down for private parties. 12 a year, 24, do you want me to talk? You told me to explain to him, so I'm explaining to him. So 12 a year, 24 a year, they close their premises, the place is bought out for the day, evening, whatever, and that's the private event. If they are on a regular basis, closing for private events, so what are you looking to do? Because that's normally what we say here, and normally someone comes with, we need 12 or we need 24, we need 36 times a year, we're going to close our restaurant off to the public because it's a public restaurant.
He'll show
You
you. He
have
has
to-
photographs of this Ukrainian business lunch that they have.
Quite frankly, I just want to know if the whole place is closing or not. I don't care if it's a Ukrainian business deal
No,
or the
but-
sports people coming in or some other business coming in. I care how often the restaurant is closed to the public.
First of all, again, with all due respect, if it's closed for 2 to 3 hours while
It's
they have,
closed to the public. I mean,
But-
he's ready.
but-
I'm going to tell you, because this sounds like exactly, and it's too bad you weren't here for the conversation to understand all the issues. This sounds like exactly what evolved last time when you were here, where it was, we're going to have events and the space is rented out for events versus typically what happens at a restaurant, it is bought out so somebody can hold their party there. This isn't, you're not coming here with a catering license for an event space that is rented out. You're coming here as a restaurant open to the public.
correct. During, let him explain what he's talking about. Again, we're talking.
Yeah, I'd love for him to explain instead of, I just explain what I mean by private event, so he can explain what he means by private event.
Dear community board, I'm not talking about 12 weddings per year. I'm not talking about extravagant birthday parties or runways. I'm a business guy. I write for Forbes, I write for Inc. magazines. I'm a member of business community at Forbes, at Inc. I am in conversation with Inc. from time to time, once a quarter, bring Inc. Business people into the restaurant to have a networking event. If a business guy drinks one drink, it's not a big deal. But yes, for that time, the restaurant may be closed to the public. But again, I'm not planning to disturb, I have no intention of disturbing public around. It's a business networking event. Is that a concern to community?
So I don't, the concern for the community is I'm not understanding, is this, I don't understand what you're saying. You're bringing in a group of business people to have a meeting in the premises.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so people do,
Consider it an event because if
well, if
it's a-
you're closing the whole restaurant down and the only people that are in there are your business people, then I consider that an event because it's not open to the public. So that's fine. That's fine. Right. Well, this is what I'm trying to say. How many times would you like to be able to do that? 36 times a year, 48 times a year, 100 times a year, 16 times a year? That's all.
48, I'm a member of 4 prominent.
But this
business
isn't your, I'm just going to say something. This is a public restaurant. This isn't your private event space. So I mean, that usually when restaurants open to the public, they're open to the public. So this is not, that's why I'm asking the question, but just give me an answer. That's all I care. How many times? Yeah.
48.
Okay. 40.
48. It's also considered the following. Those events last up to 3 hours. We are open from 8 to 10 typically, or till 11 on, so it's a portion of the time.
Okay, and okay, that's helpful. And then, so how many private events do you want the way we would typically think of a private event? Where, let's say somebody, you're having a wedding or something like that, where the restaurant is closed for the evening, 12 times a year?
Probably up to 12, yeah.
And do you need DJs at your 48 events?
Okay.
For the,
No. I don't need DJs for corporate parties, but I've heard your definition of a DJ. It's a person who is changing music, right? I am a Russian-speaking Ukrainian of Jewish descent, and our restaurant will have Russian public, Ukrainian public. You know what's happening right now in the world. I cannot have a Russian music playing to Ukrainian party. Who is going to control that music? We need someone to control the music.
right, you can do it.
All the commercial music services allow you to create a playlist.
Correct. And what if someone at the party wants to hear a different music?
We can change the playlist, but that's
And
not a
that
DJ.
person in my book is called DJ. That's a person who is responsible to change the music.
Well, usually if you have a server who just goes and changes a song, that's not a DJ. You have a bartender that's changing the song, that's not a DJ.
So if I have a person who strictly sits on the corner and in charge of the music, but I call them later, that would be okay?
No, that's not okay with me. I'm not speaking for that.
Sorry.
So the DJs, that's, yeah.
Again, we completely agree to stipulate to conversational. It's me, DJ is a person who changes the record.
No, I understand, but once you start doing that to what everybody's request is and everything else, trust me, it's not background music and it's not just conversational.
stipulating,
Playing,
but-
and they're playing to the crowd and it doesn't work that way.
Fully agreeing to stipulate to conversational.
As does everybody else. And when a DJ gets in there, that's not what it is. We'll see what the committee says. So you want a DJ when? How often? All the time?
No.
At your
12 times a year.
At your 12 times a year?
For
you
the
want a
parties,
DJ?
yes.
Okay. All right. And what else was the problem? The unlimited drinks? I mean, if you're closed for a private party, you're closed for a private party. You're not charging everybody a plate of food and you're not charging, people are closed for the party. That means they bought the space out. However you work out that deal is however you've worked out that deal. So when we are saying we'll not have unlimited drink or unlimited food and drink specials, that's what we mean. You're not having that as part of your daily operations. This stipulation is in there for everybody.
Let's, okay. let's say on Sunday, we have a brunch. Let's say,
That's exactly what we mean. No unlimited drink and no unlimited food and drink specials. That's exactly when we mean that.
again, with all due respect, 117A.
I don't
the
care. I'm
MCL
telling you, before this community board with
The-
our stipulations, that's what I'm not saying it's illegal to do it. I'm saying that that's what we say.
Okay, okay. Listen, I came here because my client
Well, I
would
don't want them
like
to
a-
leave.
an explanation as to what it.
Can you guys,
He's been-
wait,
he's
hang
been-
on 1 second. The people for the Charlie, Michelle, Carol, don't leave. We'll be done in a few minutes. Please don't leave.
I could ask a question. May I?
Yes, please. We want to hear from you. If you could just do it, what happened? So we'll finish this up. Go as quick.
Yeah, going back to the TV that you're going to play.
You keep this really
Very
very short and important.
Ukrainian music, is it videos? Ukrainian videos on the TV with the music and so on?
Yeah, possible.
Right, okay.
And it's gonna be, how loud is this gonna be, or what is it? gonna be?
Conversational volume, you don't hear it outside of the place. You can speak over it.
Okay, one more question. When you go back to the business meetings,
Yes.
are the people going to be playing any games or cards or backgammon or things like that?
No.
Okay.
He has photos of what he's done already. Do you want to see?
No. Okay. So I think we covered what we mean by the unlimited drink. And it sounds like what they are looking for is unlimited drinks during brunch. Well, I'm asking, you're representing them. I don't know who to listen to. So is that what you're looking for? Unlimited drinks during brunch
In other words,
outside of your events? People can buy 3 drinks. Nobody's limiting how many drinks they can buy. It says will not have unlimited drink or unlimited food and drink specials.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll stipulate to that.
Is there anything else that I need to cover? Darlene, come on.
Hi, Darlene Lutz again. The location of Mishka is on this sort of triangle of at the corner, one corner there's Lupe's, then in is Bizou, and this is at the rear. They've been open for about 6 years. Kind of curious, but it is the outdoor space that is adjacent to the building, which is now very nicely cleaned up, by the way. That was used during COVID. I think they, wanted to get, some outdoor action going on there, blah, blah, blah. It was really trashed. It looks better now, but if they're saying they're not going to go for outdoor, they are going for outdoor. That would be
The stipulations read, because this was a lengthy conversation last month that I don't want to have again this month. And the
No,
way the
and I appreciate
stipulation,
that.
and I appreciate you being here, is that they will not operate a backyard garden or any other outdoor area for commercial purposes, including any sidewalk, cafe, and or roadbed seating. And then the next stipulation says licensee applicant will not use the side yard at 517 Broome Street for any eating and or drinking purposes whatsoever without receiving the proper permits and returning to CB2 Manhattan.
Terrific. The canvas red shed at the back of the building that just went up, that's very curious to me, but what can I say? They can do it, but it doesn't appear to be, yeah, I'm curious because, I'm nosy.
That's on the other side.
It's on the
map.
Mott Street side. It's on the rear of
Oh,
the,
okay.
it's.
Okay,
the
thank you
rear.
for that. And it has their name on it with a little door and it's all enclosed in. So thank you. Okay. Go right ahead. That's it.
Catherine?
Hmm?
I'm sorry.
But you're speaking to us. You're not speaking to Darlene.
I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't catch the name of the person who was talking.
Darlene Lutz.
Darlene. Darlene, thank you
But
very
you're
much.
speaking to us.
Yes. So yes, once I joined Mishka, we did remove all the graffitis from the mall. We did clean up everything that was on the backyard. They are making sure it kept clean. The backyard, the
The
parking lot.
adjacent property.
The adjacent part, which is a parking lot, which is not going to be operated for anything until we get a CO, for which we will show up here next time when we are ready for it. Regarding that red shed that went up in the back, it's done to conceal graffitis and save a little bit of heat inside of the building, and to make sure that graffitis do not go up again on the walls. It is all concealed there.
You can when is it going to be removed?
Removed what?
This structure that's on this public sidewalk,
It's not on the sidewalk.
huh?
It is not on the sidewalk.
It sure looks like it's on the sidewalk.
It is on the property that belongs to
It's
the,
sticking out past the building line of the adjacent building. So that seems like it's on the sidewalk, at least half of it. That's what. And I mean, what's its purpose? What's its function? What is it there for? I mean, the graffiti, you can paint the wall. Did you get a building permit to build this?
you are not required to get a building permit to put a shed.
I'll go check that. Anybody want to try to ask anything else on that? What? I mean, I don't know.
You know,
What part
there's
of-
no smoking inside, that at the business meeting, the people have to come outside to smoke cigarettes.
No, yeah, that's the law.
I know, I'm of that background, people like to smoke, so they have to come out, right? Okay.
Madam Chair, I also just, for
Go ahead.
completeness of the application, applicant left blank on the questionnaire whether it's in a historic district. It is. I just want to point that out. Thank you.
All
So
right,
that's
no,
even more reason not to
yeah,
have to,
change the facade. No,
right, so that can't, I mean.
I
this-
don't, no, we're not,
This can't be sitting outside, so when is it coming down?
look, he just explained that it's not part of, I don't know if it is or it's that, I don't know. Why don't we explore this in the sense is, if it's not legal, he has to take it down. So he's saying that it's not on the building line, or it's not over the building line, and therefore does not need permits.
Well, the other thing is you can't just go ahead and build things in historic districts because you feel like it. You need permits to do things. And if it's a, an historic district, I imagine you need other things. Quite frankly, not completely my area of expertise, but you don't just go putting things up like this on the sidewalk.
Look, I see it. I'm told it's not on the sidewalk.
You still
Let
can't
me
just put it up. I mean, this is what
He just explained that he doesn't need permits to do it.
he
We,
needs.
if it's part of, if it's on
Right.
public property, I would agree with you 100%, but, I'm told it's not, or at least he's saying it's not. It's there. What, you mean the outside of the building lot? No, we gave you an interior sketch.
Is it 40 feet? Do we know how big that structure is?
One other reason I didn't want to bring it up. Would you like to see videos, people peeing in the corner?
No, I don't. I mean-
That's another reason I put it up. So, and it was 5 instances over a period of 1 month.
That's right. Is that an exit from the restaurant? Is that the fire exit from the restaurant? Is that the exit from the restaurant?
Entry.
It's a rear door entry to the restaurant?
Yes.
So you have two, I just want to be clear on this. So there's 2 entrances to the restaurant. There's one, no, he's explaining it. So Mr. Miller, let him explain it. He's the one who knows his restaurant. Go ahead. Is there a restaurant you just said that,
Is address is 519 Broome Street.
right?
Okay, that's an entry for patrons to come in.
Okay,
I also have another exit from the kitchen.
That's an exit. So that's the emergency, and that's where the structure is. So that's where the structure is that correct?
Which structure are we talking about?
The red structure that's
Yes,
out on
it's
the
here.
street is there. Yes.
I mean, cover. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is it blocking the exit?
No, it's not blocking the exit.
It's
the
not?
Exit.
It's not in front, because it has a door in it as well. Do you exit this exit and go into that structure and then exit that structure?
Yes.
Okay, so it's blocking the building exit.
Why is it?
Well, because I would think you would need a building permit to
Yes.
block the
Yes.
emergency egress of the restaurant.
Yes.
Or-
You realize that this is, you're blocking the fire egress of the building with that structure. The drop downs are
Okay.
right above that.
This is completely new to me. Let me speak to him. If it is illegal,
I'm
he'll
just
deal with
going to
it.
show you
He'll-
right now, if you.
I see
come
it.
over,
I know,
mean,
I see it. I said, let me discuss it with
Could
him.
I just-
I don't think he understands the ramifications if it is a fire exit. So let me speak to him. Let me try to get an answer as to its legality, and we'll leave it at that. Obviously, we'd have to speak to,
Already filed this application with the liquor authority.
There's nothing to talk about because if there's a fire, where does the drop down to? The ladder? You tell me.
no, it's the exit that's.
No. The fire escape drop down ladder for the building. Where does that go to? You currently cannot drop it to the sidewalk, which is,
Is that true?
you tell us.
Look at the picture.
It's
Oh, just one second. All right. He just said to me, if it is in fact illegal, he will remove it.
If it's illegal, I mean.
I'm looking at it for the first time. I'm not disagreeing that if in fact it does create a fire hazard, it has to be removed. I'm not arguing with it.
Every time we hear this, there's something more that's a problem.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, last time we were here, we went through everything very thoroughly. There's a real history here of everything not being what it's supposed to be that goes back years. And here we are again, and this was supposed to be somewhat easy, and we're reinventing the wheel because there's new issues. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. Does anybody else on the committee have anything to say? Okay, I think we're done. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, come on back. Sorry. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, 202 folks. The 202 people are going to speak first. Thank you and apologies.
Hello. Yeah, so we had a nice discussion with them before, and they alleviated our concerns about sticking to the strict timelines and not installing a speaker that wasn't already there. So yeah, we're
You're okay?
addressed.
Okay, and what time did you discuss for that area? Did
It
you-
was 11 on Fridays and Saturdays, and then 10 on the rest of the week.
Yep. Okay, so those are the hours they gave us. Okay, great. Did you fill out the speaker cards?
Yes, we did.
Okay, are they down there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can grab them. Yes. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming. And did you exchange emails or something? You have their contacts? So, okay, great.
They both have, they've got their cell phone.
Okay, good.
So if I could just real quickly.
Yeah, just hold it up to you and speak.
Yeah, just real quickly. I know there was some discussion about hours. And I realize it's a 4 a.m. license that we're asking for. Tom and Jerry's has been operating for 31 years until 4 a.m. and they do a trade in those last couple of hours, but they do it respectfully. I think they have done for a very long time. And the hours are important to this operation. So we'd ask that you consider them.
Okay.
On the rear yard, they'll abide by the steps. And one of the things they wanted to do to address Ms.
Yeah,
Camp-
you got to hold your microphone really up.
Sorry, one of the things that they wanted to offer to address Ms. Campo's concern, right? I know that she asked for 9 and 10.
Well, I think Cormac also
Cormac-
asked
and
for
maybe
9 and 10.
Cormac did as
I think
well.
Ms. Campo asked for 2 a.m. But go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of the rear yard, what the gentlemen have suggested is perhaps if you are inclined to reduce the hours to earlier than what's currently in the steps, that instead you stipulate that the canopy will be closed by that earlier hour, so that on all nights, so that but that they can continue to operate in the space for that last hour, so that the 10 and 11 o'clock closing hour that they've requested stands, but that they agree by stipulation that they'll close the canopy all nights an hour before that. And that's a compromise that they've offered, and we hope that you'll consider.
Okay, so
Right.
just so I'm clear, the canopy opens, so the canopy may or may not be open depending on weather,
But in
any time, but
but in
they're
any
offering
event-
to close it at 9 and 10.
and 10.
There will be no speakers
speakers.
outside, none whatsoever.
None. And
And there will be no TVs outside.
none.
So the only noise outside will be coming from the patrons, which
From
can
the
be
guests.
bad enough depending on the
right.
situation, but there will be no additional noise for
None.
them to be talking over or reacting to.
Yep. And I'll add to that, in speaking with Dan Delaney, he's going to work with Acoustalog to implement sound remediation.
Will you stipulate to that? Is that who you're going to work with? Have you decided that?
Go ahead.
I worked with Acoustalog previously at 53 Spring. and
Okay.
To great success. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so if I just put a stipulation, you're going to work with Acoustalog? Or should I not do that? I won't do that. I'll just say you'll work with what?
Leave him, please leave him the
Yeah,
flexibility.
Yeah, why, Acoustalog is really somebody that.
We know.
And.
They want you to.
also- And we've had issues with other people because there's no real certifications in soundproofing. And that's the problem. Yeah,
Absolutely, and
I mean, Alan.
Plus you have a,
Alan appears before us
yes.
enough.
Yeah, and that worked well.
Let's do it.
Okay, good. I mean, I will say they weren't complaining about 53 Spring and they were not, that it's good to get
You can put it,
something
you
from
can put it
them.
in a step down.
Okay,
And
good.
the last thing I
Okay.
want to say is that with respect to the rear yard, in addition to the steps, we're gonna have, the lease has not been signed yet, but I strongly suspect that the lease is going to contain a requirement that it close no later than 11 anyway.
Okay.
And so you will, in addition to the stipulations that you folks are asking them to sign and that'll be incorporated into the liquor license, they're going to have an independent obligation, which is a contractual obligation with the landlord. And so I just wanted to let you know that because it should be some additional assurance.
And so the other thing, I'm just going to say this, since this is an operable roof, old stipulations had that there were umbrellas covering everything all the time. So, yeah, but they're not going to keep the roof closed all the time. So then that means that I'm just raising it. So just put signs, do whatever you need to do, put signs around just to make sure, because now it has a roof that's better, but when that roof is open, it's not better because they used to have umbrellas. So
I
just
understand.
whatever,
We're
figure it
happy to-
out.
We're happy to post signs.
Yeah,
To respect
and
our,
just-
respect our neighbors. If that's,
And yeah, just be aware.
be aware.
Yeah.
Sure.
The larger thing is if there's an ongoing issue that it's dealt with, I mean, that's the primary thing.
It will.
So if your neighbors are having a problem,
That's it. So if you don't want to close the roof and people are complaining and you need umbrellas, then go buy umbrellas, I guess is what I'm saying, and then close the roof in the winter. Whatever, just Exactly. The rear yard. Go. Huh? They're closing at 4. I mean, we have not discussed this, so you can stay for our business session, but they. You just said close it now. Go ahead, Michelle. Want to speak? If you want to speak.
We said there's a difference.
Well, I have spoken to them about, can you hear me? We prefer 2 AM closing.
7 days.
Yeah, I tried for 1 AM during the week and 2 on weekends, but then I decided, 2 all along because I know there's a rent to meet. But I think that's reasonable and I don't think there's not a lot of traffic out late. Hopefully, much, anyway.
Okay.
We spoke about.
I mean, I've heard this, the community asking for 2, and I prefer 2 as well. But I've heard the applicant say 4, so I'm not
Right.
sure where we.
Well, I think then we'll talk about it in business because I think they have heard and we have
Or,
heard.
you
So,
come to.
we'll
a
talk about it
decision
at
that
business.
Instead of 4 every day of the week, maybe on the weekends, but I
We'll talk
prefer
about it
not.
in business. They said what they said,
I know.
said what they wanted and we'll have that's
I
what our business session is for at this point. You can go home now. Thank you for staying. Thank you. Did you want to say anything else? No, you're with it. Okay. 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 Thanks, guys. Okay. All right. Michael? Go ahead. All right. Not quite. We're waiting for Michael. No. Okay.
So
You use the microphone. Sorry.
what they would propose is 2 AM on Sunday and Monday as a compromise to try to accommodate Ms. Campo and to give something on the hours with the understanding that the later hours later in the week are really important to them. They're trying to work with these folks. So if we could strike a balance there.
Okay.
it would.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks. Good night. Okay, is there any new business for right now? No. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop and take a break for a minute and stretch our legs and then we'll go into business session. Done.
Move everybody out of it.
I have you're coming Thursday, right?
I am.
Hi. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
travel.
You might as well. The entirety of it. Have a good Tuesday night. Okay, so we'll start with, the one that I raised, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Mott, they have their own stipulations and no sign are that. So we're okay with that, the 9 months is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then one. All right. The next one is
Yeah, it's okay by me.
So I was putting together the Instagram with only for the opening, so there should be more of that, and I'll just put something in that says that they're doing and more Instagram than have a process in place to for the bottom.
No, but I think it's a good idea to add that. I mean, I haven't thought of that, and it's just fine.
Okay. Okay, now, I mean, there's, and that's that. Next one is, yeah, no, I was trying to is Miznon, 61 West 8th, the expansion.
Right, the, Shmone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I'm okay with that. That's a part of it, just like, got it.
I just think that the difference needs to be spelled out so that there's not confusion later, because it's opening up expansion of that.
Right.
And which is fine.
Right.
but That's.
I mean, I think it needs to somehow figure out, to define it in the way that it's done the way.
Right, they're defining it as just one.
It's one space, it's one space. And to, in my mind, this is what I said, but then it sounds like they're operating the new space as like what we get when you want to walk into a larger space, you have that front entry with the bar. Right. So.
And they said that's after the time.
Yeah, that's, so here you go, now I'm here. Actually, in fact, they are losing more. They're getting more stable, so they're getting really. They don't even do anything.
That space is more than just space. This is.
Right.
So it's really not a problem.
Right.
If they're expanding, that's the whole thing sort of opportunity here.
Right.
I think it was your point was, well, it's not helpful to powerful basically. And you got a sticker for this, instead of you got a sticker for the entire operation. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not the balance together. So, and that's important, this is what we're saying, yeah.
Yeah. But the building extended is not a problem.
Yeah.
There are actually some residents in the building, but they're over. All the old, great high up, state. Well, we want to come here.
Yeah.
But that's the next one.
I think it's the same, yes. Go up there, go up, there's like an internal staircase, you go up above the place. The problem, you go above this place, but it's pretty far. You go in that thing that takes you up to the exercise space, and I think that there's an additional set of hot doors inside that take you up beyond that to the residential on that side, but I'm not an expert on the interior, I forget.
So earth design was what we want. I think that's and the hours for the same, 12 Okay. So the next one is, well, Reconsideration. So we just got a call, Sunday, the starting of the Thursday, and then 8 o'clock. The other day, except for the 12 maximum private events. And here, we're going to be maybe watching the different DJ, it's going to be background trouble, that backroom, but when we use during this type of event. So if they've been sending people in the store, because that background program, so there is. Who's ready? And primarily here now.
I thought that the food drinks was like if they're telling them in that way, not how many.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're limited. Well, they are, now they would, yeah, that's, they run out. Right, that's the down. That's not planned on.
But they're like they're wondering the two for the one out, but that doesn't mean like, I don't, like, if you want me, I wouldn't
On a-
drink.
On a day.
Early one. I just think that, you know, they said that the TCO would be work on inside of the operation and that.
I mean, it's about the large space, especially.
Well, I think that it's maybe TPA website, which is temporary.
There's never gonna be any. Yeah, so what do you want for the TCO? Right. Okay, so we're gonna make sure the piece is before they start the consent. Okay. Make sure it has been along the community board to have this nonsense for the US, so that somebody can, for the community board and have that. So we're not much of the. Next one is, yeah, what's that? Carmine. What's that? Well, background, is there, it's really big. Nobody's in the basement. I think, I'm saying that's one where we want to say we can get that book for the staff.
Yeah, but and that's all.
Right, and close it.
I just would rather not hear that.
No, I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I mean, close it and down. Anyone else? Is that? Everybody okay? Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Good. Great job. Sophia, a little Italy. The big mission is maybe the license. I'll ask that. Here, I'll look at it. Oh, sorry, it's just the entity. I was ready on that. Sorry. Yeah. It's been there. That's and, thanks to the regulation. Close out file of other things that have been written on. Well, for 2 hours, they're using that, basically, they use that, so we can line up. The rest of my friends,
Yeah. Denial. So we're denying to deny. Yeah, I agree.
Every time.
Because never wants to know that. Yeah, I mean, that's what the problem, never wants to know that. So, but when I write the resolution, well, I think turn around and say, yeah. Which was that? Yeah, then there's so this is the denial, and then the rest of I'll write that right? You know that. Outside.
We're gonna have the outside, now I live with me, but I don't have a lot, it's okay. I can't vote for 4 AM. Okay.
I won't either. But I was gonna say, I've compromised my time to be outside. And I don't really have a problem with the Boreans, especially Friday and Saturday, and get their thing. Friday and Saturday, it's been Boreans, and if I do that for the neighborhood, or in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood.
I mean,
They didn't, the one thing is I feel like these are better operators that are not there. And I was really happy to hear from them about the I just remember exactly. Because the network, it was at least twice. I mean, we had a community come at least twice. They were really opposed to it. And, I think there was some issues with the construction where nails were going up through the before, and they resolved that, and they haven't had problems with it opening in any time. They've been very responsive to everything else, so it sounds like, and from, what Carol was saying about the community, bringing the community and shows and everything, I mean, that's kind of where it's like the reason. And I'm not likely to get a right now. So,
I'm just gonna say, for me, I joined, I know Tom Cherry, it's been another woman who wasn't finished by Raiders. I think that and Kim, who I think we were 2023 before this, one of the other spot, because there was a spot on the lower side and somebody. So the exact same thing.
But he said no.
And that's pretty telling. I know that. Support also but with all that said, there's issues here. That's why I like to talk out the issues. That's the most important thing. And I think that because the spot has and we've had many issues here. I think the most important thing is having a good operating.
Yeah.
That's really to me, and I would hate to not.
Somebody's right.
But have somebody else. Like when I did an offer, which I don't understand Sunday and they go to No, I understand, but that's fine. Just, I think that we can potentially find some middle ground, but what's whatever anybody else says, but I will just say that of all the operators that we have in place that's previously problematic. Yeah, I mean, that's a good, fortunate that we want to take a chance. To take over.
Yeah.
Well, I think that that's the originally, I mean, I remember going in far too long ago, it was small and was fine. This is a really weird space, but it's they're taking steps over the years to try to make it better, but I think that the problem is always you saw the pictures here that are submitted of just like what's out there. Instead, having TVs and speakers, and that's the problem, what's in there. And so I think that there's no way
They also said we can getting those in and out still. They did say it's going to be more.
I was with Michelle and with Carol when at Thompson St we had the event from Arch there, and was there, and and that's I can't speak more to the community's space than Jerry's, and in some respects I'm understanding, but with the later hours, this is the name of them. You guys have all heard me say that every part of the community, communities are later bar.
Yeah.
So that's why I find like finding a balance here maybe a little bit better. I think that the rear yard is
That's
really
really
the source of attention of the viewers.
Yeah.
And super loud music. So really addressing the sound issues, not having a DJ takes a step one on that. Really, really are removing the sound productions and sort of TV speakers is another part. And that those are two huge steps. Those have been historically across the street, Jason on the spring side. I'm hearing all the stuff.
Well, and I would be happy with 2 acres under
I could live with that if they go with that. I would like it, but I would, in the spirit of compromise and unity, I would go.
We can't make with Victoria and somebody that's not.
See, now you're just arguing me into that.
No, don't keep it. Format's not really. He found you. So is that what we return, well, then it's a.
Is that
I'm trying, yeah, I just want to write it down, and you think that. They're not, it's not, because it's not really, but it's not. No, I understand, I want to done the sound. So I think, say, what are those, we're saying 10 o'clock outside. Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I was.
Saturday, the what? 4 a.m. Thursday, Saturday. That's good enough. We need to think about that. I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to put you on the spot now, because I was exactly wrong with what you're saying. Really good. And some people want to focus on the one. And some of us don't want to live in Victoria or Lawrence, that nice to be, so.
you're happy with all, everything presented, it would low 11 PM, Friday, Saturday, in the backyard. So that would be with the especially with the kind of.
There's a load that. But they
Completely.
want, what Thursday, and Saturday?
Yes.
That, yeah, so let me just repeat this, so 10 o'clock outside. Sunday to Wednesday. 11 o'clock outside, Thursday to Saturday. You'll close the booth an hour before closing.
Yes.
And then inside is 2 AM. Sunday to Wednesday, and 4 AM. Thursday to Saturday.
You agree with that, yes?
Thank you. And then the speakers at no TV time.
Agreed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks a lot.
We'll send you the.
Well, thank you. No TV now. That's what
Great.
they no TV.
We'll go counting that day.
No phones happening outside for the don't cheer. Okay, great. Thank you for saying that. Okay, and then, but not. I was really, my favorite place.
Okay, it was very difficult to understand the point of time. Didn't help that family who often seems to make more difficult. Style like that. So in the end, it sounded to me like it was not the time, understanding that you need a private property or whatever, except for that outside space, which, you know, I mean.
Okay.
Or he's gonna come back to this, let's say.
So we're, no, I think we talked about it right now.
Well, I just looked at me, that look at the front on them, the drop down. Well, if you look at the rear one, I mean, I would not, like, just do that. Sometimes there's like cut out on the front of the or no one's fine. That's kind of.
Well, look at,
I mean, that needs to be record. I mean,
yeah, the lawyer was nice. We have, their photo. All along time.
yeah, so both cars.
That's kind of the new environment.
Mark, maybe you can see it, you're about a building with both fire exits that drops down. Can't have one.
Yeah, we have it in the front. Here, Mark, here's the photo.
Here's the photo of the front.
Now go to the green.
There's supposed to be a hatch that goes through, I know, it's like a flat.
You can tell it from the. And one, but it's like the train.
Yeah.
And then this,
The drive, I mean, this is like.
see, and then this is for Mark, this is what they put on here. That's solid wood actually.
Yeah, it's also.
And I don't know if that's legal, but if I. Right down.
No, that's in the back. Well,
That's in the back.
This is a three building between lots. And, road.
Oh, okay.
How hard is it on what? Or the higher than the lot building is in the small.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's like.
Yeah.
It's not, but I have, it. You know, I mean, it's so.
The guy, the most recent guy, his name was, they actually used to remember, Thompson St.
Yeah, it's just kind of a. Really.
So.
So I'm sorry.
519, yeah.
519.
Oh, that's not it. Yeah. No, you're back to the road. If you want to send me a photograph of the time. I don't know.
That and other one, yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, I would. I thought last time we were good, and I thought the light was 20 watts. Mark.
Okay.
Let's mark.
20 watts, which is the rear building. Yeah. Rear of the building. And then
That's that little funky corner train.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. The parking garage. Do we need to use? No, it works on work. Yeah. It's not a very patient. So I don't know if we got agreement on the unlimited drinks, but it did sound like we wanted the breakfast of the problems.
Yeah.
Well, if a lawyer read something. And I don't care what.
You can't have an unleashed size. What you can have is special.
But all non-size.
It's separate. You can have combined.
Like a $50 squash, you can get on the list. Right. And we articulate, we know that. But we don't, that bad experiences and crazy places. Right. We're not based on the past performance of the.
Yeah, the issue here is it's based on very small.
Well, this is. I think he misunderstood. His people, his clients could order a drink, order a drink, I thought that's what I understood, but I don't think so, because then a lawyer said something about, well, you know, like when there's a lunch or something, the lawyer said that, and I was like, well, no, that's exactly what we mean. Okay, so I'm not, yeah, okay. You don't think that somebody has paid a price. Yeah. Like I said, it's a private party, someone has bought the place for X amount of dollars, and they care whatever.
Well, that's, well, what, you know, the one.
That's not fair.
Well, one of them, right, right. But maybe make the distinction, say, you know, business association, things, split.
He uses the business
types.
I don't have. Right.
Close business events.
Yeah, that's good. But he said he wants 48 of those.
No, no, but if you just split.
Before. Yeah, right.
I'm just trying.
No, I know. You know, meeting, but versus.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is part of the.
And then there's, sorry.
Can I add something?
And then,
I just wanted to make the distinction part.
right, well, right, so during the lower. It's just,
You know, it's just like, you know, it's like the gap, nobody's concerned about the city prior.
Yeah.
It's coming together.
Well, it's like the restaurant is a business. So the private events will be able to, you know, there aren't DJs in that. And,
I've given that, what kind of events like that at restaurants, and they never close.
but, so. And 12 would be those that are out there. No, you know, then, no, but, you know, maybe, or I can probably get it, that what happens here. You know, say it was a teacher. Play out. You think of that, that's about 25 minutes. Is there anything else I have to say about that? And Jane, don't leave it. Hang on a second. The project next to 48 is going to be done. Is there any other, is there any? No, no votes to our vote, that's what. There might be. No smoking inside.
I think it's 48 is the next. Well, that's,
So we don't worry about, worry about 48 people there. No, I heard the restaurant 48 times a year, but I know it's not. But he didn't pay it night.
say said he was a member of the business association.
So that's 16 events.
He writes for the board.
Right. So it's 16 events. No manipulation of manual, no manual manipulation of music. That's what it is.
I think that we should put it on the. Stipulations.
Yeah.
And that means both those things inspires every person. But the definition for the.
Yeah. The other thing that was saying about, well, I have a little and the student brings that as the name of the I mean, I want that in there, I'm getting that. So, yes, we do because.
The other issue between some people.
Because you wanna know what? I wanna see if they can be operate. Right, if they're gonna be operated before I have to go to $5 application. We can always turn around in time. I don't think I have to do anything. I thought this was something to be, I really had thought that I was getting something that made me feel no better about the whole thing because she's still the one operating it. And every time I feel like I didn't have to worse. This wasn't exactly. It's like for a full on thing. So is there anything else in here, that I have to say about it? I'm sure they'll come back to them. For full people. No, I mean, I could, I'll email you if I get some feedback back, because I've never gone smoothly despite what I think I know and the lawyer also doing. So, I want to tell them, like, right? No, I'll just put down one for the and one for, and one for the rest. Okay, and then the last thing I have to, I just had one little thing for you today, because I'm starting to do that, I just wanted, and when we're done, this, that's the other thing that I didn't do it. But, this is sort of what I'm. Oh, yeah, I didn't do it. We haven't had, we're not on Thursday. So, this is sort of the. It just, and so the one, if you look at the one that I did for Ramadan, I put in restaurant hours, actually I haven't looking at it in the five. Because I just sort of, anything should kind of looking back, so pretty, hours on the restaurant. But then I thought it's confusing because the hours are actually on the stipulation form. John, we product owners. So we, no, this is my document. Oh, I believe it or not, yeah. So this is just the information that I'm giving them, and then if you read the last one, it just says that all the stipulations agreed to at this date remain. This gets sent to them, once they send in their application, I look at it, but once I'm trying to wait. Okay. And I send them this, and I attach the other stipulations. Okay, good. And I'm putting on here page 1 of 2, and page 2 of.
The new one is the applicant reflect the title.
Exactly.
This, no, say that a lot of the after that self-service, and this doesn't. This says. You can have after that is self-service.
Yeah. So when I got that, my grade was, so what did I say? So I'm not.
You don't want to argue about any that's not license. No. Right. But it's not get carded. All the change. That or like for state record card. That was about a great question. We have questions.
Oh, but if your question, what to say here, what I'm trying to say here is that all payments, two things, all payments received. That if they're being served on within a cycle.
No, they can't. There's no requirement. The thing is, we have too many, like, that's not a fight at the moment.
They never.
It was.
I don't know, this is the case where you wanted to. About the placement of the tables on the site plan needs to be. I'm not getting into the site plan. Okay, so. How many, all I care about. That would be a piece of the line, the difference where the wants to know is there's supposed to be a little. Site plan. Okay, so they can, so if the, we're not having a problem with it, I'm just trying to say they're not having more than that. Now, before they've done the final, okay, so they might be. So that's why I voted.
Well, the issue, and this is gonna come back. That's really late, that if you have a roadway or a sidewalk, you don't have to put it out. So the issue right. It's not it's like one group that would be right. I just say that because we just don't want.
Which is why I'm just saying,
Yeah.
will not have more than.
No, right, but it's gonna be. Oh, right.
First of all, the diagram of cramming so many tables in, there's no other.
And then the other. That's like the. No. Sorry.
Get rid of that.
Like all this other stuff, it's like way from your.
Okay. Does that mean like no commercial, like no storage, no? Right, that's no. No, that's what I mean, I just mean that they're not, so I was trying to do something. But yeah, try to do that. I put that.
Here about like this, nobody's gonna.
Yeah. That is just like. Nobody did you see, not the people out there. So I guess it has to be. So I guess it's fine to come down there on the first one, because my point is that. You can get that. So what I'm trying to also say is that when the service happens from the area.
All patients will be seated.
That's tomorrow.
Just simple. Like, sign the scope.
Yeah.
And
So like,
it actually. Yeah, so, you know, and then that's.
With your hat.
Need licenses until.
You got a production party or you're pretty in March? Yeah. Yeah,
Not 30.
Well, here
Are we out?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Good night. Good night.